창밖에 남겨진 기억이 먼지에 쓸려 흐릿하게 소망으로 겨우 기우는 말들을 덮고 맞이하는 밤 꿈을 꾸고 있었던 것처럼 먼 눈으로 우리를 찾아 다시 떠오르는 태양에 몸을 훔치려 달아나네 바람에 안긴 흔적들을 담아 깊게 눌러쓴 이야기가 되어 기나긴 시간을 기다려온 나의 노랫소리들이 모래먼지 속에서 작은 손짓이 되길 기도해 언젠가 달 저 하늘에 저 하늘로
Hello, friends. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. We're going to be talking about a lot of gear today. I don't know how long this stream will be, but it might only be like 2 or 3 hours long. It might be a short one. So however long it takes, we're talking about all of it. Every single piece of equipment.
창밖에 남겨진 기억이
Oh, by the way, you know today is actually today marks the 1 year anniversary of my streaming on YouTube. It's actually today, but I'm doing the celebration stream tomorrow because I don't want to do this tomorrow. Basically, so I'm doing the in my opinion is going to be the harder stream first. Maybe I should have done it the other way. I just thought it'd be more fun to end like my last stream before I go on vacation as like my anniversary stream. But damn, actually maybe it would have been smarter to do it the other way, because I could last time we did one of these podcasts, basically it's like pretty much like a podcast. You're just listening to me talk about the game. I lost my voice, almost lost it. It was close. I needed to rehab a lot with the tea and stuff. I don't think it'll happen this time though. It's not gonna be as long. There aren't anywhere near as many things to say about the equipment as there are about the skill tree. So I think we'll be okay. And I have water, plenty of water. I hope you guys are staying hydrated, by the way.
바람에 안긴 흔적들을 담아 깊게 눌러쓴 이야기가 되어 기나긴 시간을 기다려온 나의 노랫소리들이 모래먼지 속에서 먼지에 쓸려 흐릿하게 소망으로 겨우기 원해 말들을 덮고 맞이하는 밤 꿈을 꾸고 있었던 것처럼 먼 눈으로 오기를 찾아 다시 떠오르는 태양에 몸을 움츠려 달아나네 바람에 안긴 흔적들을 담아
Okay, let's get started. Bring down the music. Although the music kind of was at a good audio level. Nah, we'll just leave it like that. Alright, I think let's run the montage and then we can actually begin talking. Thank you guys for tuning in. Okay, hello friends. Welcome to another long discussion podcast type of stream. Today we're talking about all of the equipment in the game. So all of the exospines, all of the gears, and the entire drone skill tree as well. And I believe that's it. That's all we really have to talk about. So if you missed last one, we were talking about the skill tree a couple weeks ago. The video is just titled reviewing reviewing the entire skill tree in Stellar Blade. So if you like listening to this kind of stuff, you might want to check that one out. However, I haven't edited it down yet. I'm going to edit it down at some point in the near future. But yeah, that's like a 5-hour long stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Edgar, Juan, Shinigami, Tezel, Wake, Agatoki, good to see you all. Hope you're having a good week. I'm having a great week. Very busy though, but I'm done working now. I'm going on vacation starting on Sunday, so I'll be gone for a month. And that means that we're not going to be having any streams unless I do like miscellaneous little streams from console, which I might do. We'll see. I may or may not do that, to be honest, because the thing is, the quality is much lower. You know, if you're used to listening to me like this on my microphone, going to a headset, just like a Pulse Elite headset microphone, not really the same, but maybe it's kind of better than not streaming at all for an entire month. So I still might do it just because it'll be kind of weird not streaming at all. Like, since it's become part of my just, you know, weekly behavior of just streaming at least 3 times a week for the past year. Today's our 1-year anniversary, but I'm doing the anniversary stream tomorrow. You know, it's become part of my behavior, so not doing it for a month is gonna feel kind of strange. So I might feel like, oh, I gotta stream. Like this is, like I gotta do something. Hello, Mr. Wing. Bring us a souvenir when I get back. Am I going to Japan? Not this time. Not this time. I'm wearing my Osaka shirt because, which I did wear this when I went to Osaka last year, but I'm wearing the same shirts because it's what I was wearing last discussion stream. So when we were talking about the skill tree, I was wearing this shirt. So I put on the same shirt for continuity so that I can edit them. I'll have the option to edit them together and it won't look so jarring like if I changed to a different shirt. So good question though. In the office, oh, you'll be out of there soon. What are you guys up to though? What are you guys up to? Love how you did a D-Rust stream only to go on vacation for a month. Honestly, I was thinking about that just before I went live. I was like, hey, what the hell was the point of that? I D-Rusted just to immediately get rusty again. Because I'm not going to be playing while I'm over, you know, while I'm abroad. I mean, I guess I might play a little, I suppose. Maybe we could. Casey Madnax, thank you for tuning in. But yeah. That's a good point, Agatoki. Working in the office, it do be like that. Yeah, and the thing is, well, we could play a little Stellar Blade tomorrow. So if you didn't see, if you're not in the Discord and you don't get updates, you know, I post the schedule usually like a couple days before I start streaming for that week. And for this week, I was planning tomorrow for the anniversary, my 1-year anniversary stream. I was going to do, we're going to look over my blind playthrough. I'm going to commentate over my blind playthrough pretty much. And I'm just going to like go through the bosses and stuff. And like maybe, I don't know what else I could go over, but like mainly I wanted to look at the bosses, how I got bodied by them the first time. And then I also wanted to, what else was I going to do? Oh yeah, I was going to like review every game that we played. I wanted to go over every single game that we played and kind of show clips and highlights maybe from the playthroughs a little bit. Just because if I'm going to be gone for a month, like you might be really interested in so-and-so game and if you're newer, you might not even know that I played it. And so the full playthroughs are still there, you know, they're all beautifully time-stamped. And so I feel like there's some content there that someone could explore in case you missed me. Like if I was gone for a month and you're like, well, I'm not doing anything today, no one else is streaming that I feel like watching, you know, you could watch this. Just realized there's a Pokemon vending machine close to where you live and there's about 600 to 700 of these things in the US. Pokemon vending machine? Getting through Monster Hunter? Are you playing World still or are you on Wilds now, Tezo? Yeah, what do they sell at a Pokemon vending machine? It could be not just packs, it could be anything, right? So, I think let's go ahead and get started. Let's jump in. I don't know how long this is going to take. Today's stream could be a short one. This could be like 2 hours, possibly. Or it could be like 3 hours, I don't know. So we're at 16 minutes, basically. 15:40. Discussion. Okay. Now, I think I'll start with either... I'm going to do the drone skill tree last. Actually, why don't I just do it first? Let's just do it first, because I'll probably do all of the other stuff within boss challenge. Is there stuff I haven't bought? No, I've bought everything. Okay. Now this is the New Game Plus. Ooh, that's a good point though. This is the New Game Plus drone upgrade module. That's not much of a spoiler though. This is like, unlike the skill tree, I feel like this is not a spoiler at all. This is just like, but I guess it kind of is, huh? If I'm not showing the New Game Plus skill tree in the other discussion part, I guess I shouldn't show it here either. Ah, okay, gotcha, Tezo. I gotcha. I'm gonna boot up one of these saves. I remember when I was growing up, there were these vending machines at like the grocery stores that just had these random Pokemon cards in them, and it was always like junk. I wonder if they still have those. They would basically just take bulk and resell them. It doesn't actually show. It doesn't show the whole skill tree. Oh wait, it does. It tells me what it does on the left, but it's not that beautiful. What are even the New Game Plus upgrades? Attaches a can detector to the drone. This thing is so marginally useful anyway. It just like increases how many of each thing you can hold. It's pretty marginal. Alright, I guess we'll just do it in New Game Plus. I don't it's less of a spoiler than the skill tree. Gonna see the vending machine next Wednesday on your birthday. Probably going to be sold out, but just want to see one in person. Go for it. Happy early birthday. Yeah, I wonder how often they restock those things. Okay. I still have Dawn on. Nice. Okay, I have the correct hotkeys, even though we're not, it doesn't matter. We're just looking over, we're just having a discussion today. Right. So let me actually readjust this timestamp. We're at 19 minutes. Okay, part 1. Let's go over the entire drone upgrade module skill tree. Now, when you start out, these are... Hold on. Well, let me quickly think about how am I going to actually talk about this. We have hacking stuff, scanner, whatever. Slug, we have shotgun over here, explosives, and then it gets upgraded. Capacity gets upgraded. Stingers. Really, all I have to talk about here is just the four ammos. That's pretty much it, really. Oh yeah, you can upgrade how long... or how short the cooldown is. Okay. Well, that's actually crazy. So you decrease the duration by 50% on cooldown, and then it goes another 30%. So in total, you're decreasing the duration. Oh, sorry. I can't read. This increases the duration by 50%, and this decreases the cooldown by 30%. Okay. And then you can get a can detector, which is like, okay, whatever. This is not that useful in my opinion. This, I don't know if this actually helped me find any cans, because just naturally exploring, you'll see the glint of the can in the corner of your eye. And then the tough ones that are harder to find, you just need to know where they are. Like, you need a map, basically. It's possible you could find them randomly. But also, this costs a lot to upgrade. Maybe this would have been good if this was a PS2 game, you know what I mean? But with the internet just having good guides, this upgrade's pretty whatever. Guidance system upgrades the Stinger's warheads, increases the attack power. Okay, I haven't read these things in a long time, so I'm gonna just read about them before I go into the discussion. Overcharge, this is my favorite gun. Charge blaster rail. This is a free upgrade, actually. The only free upgrade on the entire thing. Yeah, the only free upgrade. Just charge blaster rail. Quick charge. This is a New Game Plus ability, though. Damn, it costs 8? Jeez. Charge blaster takes 20% less time to charge up at all levels. Increase the attack power. Alright, we'll just do it. Okay. One take. Okay, let's start with the drone upgrade module skill tree. So first here we have our hacking tool. It just says attaches the hacking tool to the drone. High security sealed chests can be opened. There are not very many of these throughout the game, but you'll run into some chests where you can't unlock them unless you have this upgrade. Luckily, it only costs 1. And you know, these, like the first one I think of is right before Juggernaut. There is a chest that has a bunch of gold in it. You need this upgrade to open that. And so it'll be usually kind of better chests. They should have some kind of good loot. But the thing is, in the free chest, there's already plenty of good loot. So I don't think this is a requirement, but it only costs 1. And so you may as well get this. However, the ones I'd prioritize first are the damage ones. What is actually useful, though, in a first playthrough is the scanner upgrades. And so, since you have to unlock the hacking tool before getting the scanner upgrades, you're probably going to have this on your first playthrough. Now, these two I think are very good. The very first time you're playing through Stellar Blade, at least for me, I was scanning quite a lot. You know, not only are there petrified enemies which disguise themselves if they're like actually active enemies or not, those enemies pop up on the scanner so you can see if it's a real threat or not, but then also it's useful for finding chests, for finding, you know, all sorts of pickups and just seeing everything around the map so you're not missing anything. So if you're going for, you know, you're looking for costumes or gears or exospines, whatever, all of that picks up on this. And so it's really handy to have more duration, which is what this does. Scanner upgrade 1, it just says upgrades the drone's scanner. Duration of scan increases by 50%. So 50% longer, that's pretty good. And then the next upgrade after that, upgrade number 2, is cooldown of scan decreases by 30%, so you can do it more often. Less good. I'm glad that they put it in this order, which is ideal, because the second one is really not as good. Like, you don't need to be spamming scan. It's still a nice upgrade though, especially when you're like running around the outdoor areas in the wasteland and Great Desert. But I'm really glad that this one, you get it first, and it costs 1 drone upgrade module less. This one costs 2, this one costs 3. So, scanner upgrade 1, great. Maybe like if you wanted to play with the shotgun or something, this would be the next thing I upgrade. Like if you're hell-bent on getting missiles or the shotgun, you could do that first. But then I'd recommend getting at least a scanner upgrade 1. I would say you could wait on this one. And then the final one in this line is can detector, which costs 4 drone upgrade modules. It just says, attaches a can detector to the drone. It makes a sound when it detects nearby cans. Not that useful in my opinion. A lot of the easier to find cans, you'll just see them. Like, especially running around Zion, for example, you can just see they're shiny, so you'll see the glint. Like in your periphery vision, you'll see, oh, there's a shiny thing over there. I think that the easiest ones to find are the ones that would actually benefit from the can detector. Although it does go off in general, at least lets you know that there's something nearby to then go searching for it. But like, I feel if this was a PS2 game, this would actually be more useful. But in, you know, modern era, you can just look up everything online. There's good guides by like Game 8, IGN. Those are the main ones I used to find the cans. You don't really need this. You don't have to get this, but it's nice to have, I guess, later, if you just have 4 extra drone upgrade modules. Because once you find them... Oh, actually, that is a good point. I believe this continues going off even after you found a can. If you didn't know, if you do New Game Plus, it maintains like your can collectibles. So in other words, all of the cans that you find will still display. However, you can find the same can again. And I believe it does keep making sounds. The drone upgrade, like this module here, I believe it does keep making noise even after you found it the first time. So in subsequent playthroughs, it's going to keep making noise. And if you think that would bother you, you could just not upgrade this. It's not that annoying though, and you know, it's not like you're floating around cans super often. There's only like 30-something of them in the game, or 40-something in the game. But definitely, I would say this is the best upgrade in this entire line. And then we get into the guns, which are... This makes for a much more interesting discussion. So, first of all, the only free upgrade on this entire skill tree is the Charge Blaster Rail. Literally, all of the other ones cost at least 1 drone upgrade module, but this one's free. So you have a freebie here. And this is actually my favorite gun, personally. I was very fond of this, using it in the demo. And in my very first gameplay video that I ever uploaded, I was using this to stun Stalker. Even when he lunges at you, you can still stop Stalker midway through any attack, basically, unless it's an invincible attack. But you can interrupt him. However, the bosses are smart, and if they see you aiming at them, they will just move out of the way, like they'll side strafe. And because this one is slow to charge up, your best opportunities to use it are, you know, either wait for a boss to have just moved and then aim at them, or like wait for them to be in the middle of a combo. Like maybe get them to start doing a combo, run back a little bit, then you can charge it possibly. Or if they're being predictable, like if they're coming out of a phase transition, it's usually safe to go for a Charge Blaster Rail right after a transition. Can't do it too early though. If you do it too early while they're still transitioning, they're going to be invulnerable still. But yeah, this one just says attaches the Charge Blaster Rail to the drone. Charge Blaster can be charged and used in ranged mode. So yeah, I remember getting a lot of questions too during the demo, like a lot of comments asking, how do you change ammo? Because it's not obvious. In the demo, it's really not clear. You have to just be aiming, and then you have to hold down, like, as you're aiming, you hold down on the D-pad, which it does tell you here in the full game, but during the demo, it was kind of like a bonus thing, like, oh wow, I have a different ammo, because by default, you're just shooting the slug, which is this one. But then here we have, actually it has the same body, so it actually doesn't change, but only until you go to start shooting does it give you that different animation. So yeah, there's that. So I love this gun. It's just really, it's really fun to use. It feels so chunky and satisfying. They really made the sound effects and the vibrations and just the whole visual effects really nice and enjoyable, I think, for the Charge Blaster Reel. So it's my favorite gun. Not the best gun, though. Probably the worst gun. Actually, definitely the worst gun. It has the least applications, but it's, in my opinion, the coolest by so much. The upgrades to it are Overcharge. For 2 modules, you can upgrade it. Charge Blaster can be charged up to level 2, which I just showed earlier. So you basically have an extra wheel that charges up. Same thing is true for Overcharge 2. There's a 3rd level now. And then the rest just increase the damage. So let me show you what level 1, 2, and 3 looks like. And here's the duration. I need more ammo, though. Wait, I need ammo. You got your PS5 from a scalper? That's crazy. Holy hell. Yeah, I won't lie, I spammed scan when you first played. Same. Hazel, literally, me too. Don't feel bad. If you don't get a Switch 2 on release, you're getting it cheaper from a scalper. Getting it cheaper from a scalper, is that how that works? Hello, Grim Scythe. Good to see you again. Started doing runs? Hell yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Okay. So here is level 1. Doesn't that kind of look like Madonna? I have ADHD, by the way. That kind of looks like Madonna a little bit. Anyway, whatever. So here is level 1. And this is how long it lasts. Not very long, right? Level 2. Okay, a good chunk longer. It almost felt twice as long. And here, once you get to the last level, you can kind of hold it really for as long as you want. So you can just not let go of R2 in case you're waiting for a boss to come out of... Oh, you actually can't... I just learned something. You actually can hold it too long. However, it does not cost you an ammo. So here's the duration. That one just lasts forever. That's really cool. I had no idea. So as it turns out, you can hold down the blaster rail, and it'll eventually just say, okay, we're gonna refund you this 1 ammo you spent. And that's kind of cool. I've never been in that situation, but that's pretty cool. It's nice that you can keep your ammo. So that's overcharge 2. So the duration, you know, increases with each overcharge, which is great. More damage. Then we have Enhanced Blaster Cell. I believe this is a New Game Plus ability. It costs 6. I don't think there's any super expensive upgrades in the base game, like on your first New Game playthrough. But this one just says, upgrades the Positron Cell with Blaster Cells. Increases the attack power of Charge Blaster by 20%. So a nice 5th extra chunk of damage. Then we have Quick Charge. Upgrades the Charge Blaster Rail. Charge Blaster takes 20% less time to charge up in all levels. I should have mentioned that. I forgot I had this. But it does charge faster. Like in a normal first game playthrough, these different levels will charge slower. But, you know, once you get this one for 8 drone upgrade modules, 8 modules, you can decrease the charge time, which is nice. Oh, Bomb Orb, what's up, man? Good to see you. Hello, Daniel Yang. Have you tried shooting the cactuses? I did shoot the cactuses, actually. And it is a great, great Easter egg. I recommend everyone doing that. If you've never seen it, let me show you what he's talking about. Yeah, back during our first Christmas stream, we shot all these things because they dance for you. And it's most hilarious when you use the Charge Blaster, the Blaster Cell. Because it's just a ton of confetti. And it makes like Splatoon noises. So, it's pretty funny. Thank you for reminding me that it actually does that. I forgot about that. Moving on. Here we have the Enhanced Slugs. So this one just says, upgrades the Slug. Slugs have 20% higher attack power. Now, the Slug is your default gun. This is the one you start with. When you do your drone like tutorial and you're shooting the targets right here, you're using the slug, and unlike in the demo, two things. Unlike in the demo, and unlike during that tutorial with Lily, you cannot mash R2, but back during the demo, back during the base game 1.000, rather the unpatched game, you could actually mash R2. So you can do that, but not anymore. You could do that, I should say. Now the slug is very useful for a lot of things. I mean, first of all, it's free, so it's just a great ranged way to pick off enemies safely, with cheap ammo, mind you, with very cheap ammo, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. The main applications for it are, you know, in my opinion, it's not a bad one to use after a repulse. Anytime if you're trying to aggro any enemies, it's great. Just costs one cheap bullet, because each shot only costs like, I want to say it's like 20 gold. It's like nothing. Might be even less. How much does slug cost? Costs 15 gold. 15 gold. Very inexpensive. Okay. And then after you upgrade the damage of the slug, you have the only branching path on this entire skill tree, which is, do you want to get shotgun or do you want to get more slug? So by default, the slug starts with 30 ammo. You can upgrade it to 40 and then subsequently 50 ammo. Now, these are very okay. You know, the main use for slug, at least in like an average playthrough, really the main use for it is for the insta-kills, in my opinion. The insta-kills, as well as some targets in a lot of like some side quests, you gotta shoot targets, you know, there's like bullseyes you gotta shoot. But then later bosses, they have insta-kill moves, which they will spawn different targets which you have to shoot, otherwise you just die automatically. And so if you're not that confident in aiming at these things, number one, I would try messing with the aiming settings, because there are settings to change, you know, adjust the sensitivity. Or you can just get more ammo and just brute force through it. But even just with 30 shots, you have plenty to shoot, because, you know, you're either going to have 3 targets to shoot down, or the final bosses have 6 targets to shoot down, and each one takes only like, you know, a few bullets. So you do have plenty. Like if each one costs, if you're perfect, it costs 18 shots. So you have like 12 shots overhead if you don't get any extra ammo. But, you know, if you're worried about that, you can just get an extra upgrade right here, up to 40 slugs, or 50 if you want. Alternatively, if you're doing a gun-only playthrough, this is very, very important, because since slug is so cheap, you know, getting more of it, especially after the 20% damage upgrade, it's a pretty, you know, it's a decent way to you know, rout some enemies. But then we get the shotgun, which is so incredibly powerful. So for 2 drone upgrade modules, you can attach additional magazines. Shotgun shells can be fired in ranged mode. Now, the shotgun is like one of the most overpowered things in the entire game. In fact, I would say it's definitely the strongest gun in the entire game, just because, number one, the ammo is cheaper than the explosive. Here, there's 2 guns that are similar. We're about to get into the explosive shell, but these 2 are very similar, a shotgun shell and explosive shells, but shotgun you can hold more, and it's cheaper. Kind of by a lot. Kind of by a lot. Let's look at the shop. Shotgun costs 60 ammo per shell. Explosive shells cost 90 ammo. You know, that difference kind of matters. I wonder if, do I have any upgrades that are making this cheaper? I don't remember explosive shells being that cheap. I don't think I do. Have they always only cost 90? I guess so. But yeah, shotgun shell allowing you to hold more and being cheaper, it's the go-to. Against every single boss, you can interrupt anything they're doing with 1 shotgun shell. Unless the boss is doing an invincible attack, that's all it takes. 1 shotgun shell. So it's extremely powerful. Also good when aim canceling, so if you're doing this kind of loop, you know. Oh, hold on, I don't have my triggers on medium. I'm used to having them a little bit shorter. So you can do this very efficiently with the shotgun. And it just keeps bosses stun locked while giving you beta energy, while dealing a lot of damage. When combined with the Eagle Eye, a simple Eagle Eye Exospine with the shotgun and like a double-edged gear, just like one, you're gonna be rolling through bosses. It's very powerful. And so I definitely give the nod to shotgun over explosive shell just because of the cheaper ammo. But yeah, as you can see, only 2, and it only costs 2. And then for 3 more drone upgrade modules, for 3 more, you can unlock explosive shell magazine. Attaches additional magazines. Explosive shells can be fired in ranged mode. Now these are nice because it's basically shotgun with range. So all the same properties apply, except this one has some AoE benefits, particularly in Abyss of War. You know that one death hallway? The hallway with all the enemies, there's like 3 waves of them. If you shoot this at the ground, it does have AoE. So it's nice in that sense, where like the shotgun might not give you that kind of safety, because you got to be closer for it to connect. But against bosses, you can also use this in the exact same way. So you can also stun lock with the explosive shells and just aim cancel your way through. The difference being that you have less of them. There's only 8 versus 12. Forget about the Eagle Eye being upgraded and giving you more ammo capacity. Just by default, it's 8 versus 12 shots, and this is it's like 33% more expensive. It costs 90 versus 60 per shell. But still very good. You know, you have essentially infinite range on it. But not actually infinite range. In fact, I should probably point this out. Hold on, let's go find an enemy out in the wasteland. At least as far as bosses go, like if you're in a boss's arena, you'll be able to shoot from pretty much the end of any arena to the other end of the arena against bosses. But against regular enemies, let's find an enemy first and then I'll talk about it. The game refunds you ammo when you stop the insta-wipe. Does it actually? Hold on, wait. Insta-kills, you get refunded ammo? I didn't know that. How have I never noticed that? Tezel, that's actually crazy. I had no idea. I'm gonna get a clip of that. We'll show that. For sure. First, let's just find an enemy. So, like, right here. Here we have a hedge board. Now, this guy, you think this would reach, right? It does reach. But, how about his buddy over here? Like, what about this guy? Much farther away. Hold on, excuse me. I'm doing science. I was doing science. Alright, but then this guy... I got interrupted rudely. Does not hit him. In fact, even with Slug... Oh, Slug does connect? Okay, hang on a sec. Let's be more scientific. I gotta be more scientific about this. Let's refill on ammo and try this again. There is a limit, though. I swear there is a limit. I'm not lying to you. I remember testing this a long, long time ago. I'm gonna in fact, hold on. I'm gonna put on Eagle Eye. Just so I can have more capacity. Actually, this is kind of nice. Alright, so right here. This guy's already a decent distance, but I think this will connect. That one connects, no problem. So at least from that distance, you know it's going to connect. But then if we go like over here... Let's say I want to shoot this hedge board. Get to a nice distance where I can still at least reasonably shoot him. Like, is this good enough? Possibly. Maybe it is. That already did not connect. It's just going through him. Notice how the missile is passing through the hedge board. And I'm not missing. It's like dead on. Yeah, it's passing through the hedge board. So from this distance, no longer connects. Now, does the slug have a different range, possibly? The slug has, like, different range. I didn't realize that. I've only really tested this with explosive shell. But as it turns out, it seems slug has a little bit better range. There's got to be a really good spot where I could test this more accurately. Because I'm sure there's a limit to the slug's range as well. I'm going to try to shoot this little creeper over here. That still connects, even from this distance. Let's go farther. Let's go much farther. The limit might have been patched. Maybe they balanced it. I never noticed anything like that, though. I guess it's not a very common occurrence where you're even doing this. Ooh, this hedge board's in a nice spot. Hang on, I think this will work. I think this will work. Or no, even better. Let's go towards scrap plains. Or like towards Digger's scrapyard area. I think it is called scrap plains. Because this area is more open. So we'll just naturally have... Like here, there's a dozer. There's a dozer right there. I feel like this will connect, for sure. Oh, it already misses. Look, it's missing. Check it out. But he's gonna walk into it eventually. Eventually he's gonna walk into it. Maybe here? Okay, now it connects. So as you can see, he was walking, this dozer was walking right on the edge of the range for the explosive shell. Now let's test on slug. I just gotta find a good spot. First, let me kill these enemies. Okay, are you good? Oh, hang on. This guy's not good. Alright, that enemy somehow didn't get bothered. Okay, here's another dozer. Perfect. Let's climb up here. Okay, so here's dozer. I'm gonna get very far away. I'm gonna jump on top of this. Here we go. Ooh, I feel like this might still connect, but it's walking away from me, which is good. I think let's try here. That connected? That's incredible. That is such long range. So apparently that is still within range. Here's the problem is that the dozer's it's gonna start running at me so fast that I can't really retest immediately. Could this one reach possibly? It does. I feel like Slug just has longer ammo or longer range. Like right here, that dozer all the way over there, there's no way this would reach, right? See, it's not connecting. Wait, I missed there. It actually disappeared, so it's just on the edge of draw distance. Like here's another enemy. I can shoot this one. Wait. There we go. These shots are just missing. They're going right through the enemy. That is a... I forget what those guys are called, but you can see him there. Just barely. There's another one. Maybe this one will connect. That one connects. That one connects. Let's go back. Let's go back. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. But yeah, the explosive shells don't have as much range as Slug, but still pretty good range. Should I test it with the lasers too? I could test it with the laser. Let's go for that guy right here. As you can see, that one is just out of range. But this guy should definitely be in range. Yeah, so right there, we're good. I got caught up on some of the geometry here, but... yeah, that guy too far. As you can see, this guy very close, so... very close. Of course it connects. That's expected. Maybe this dozer's a good example. Ooh, right there. That it feels like that's right on the edge. If he was any closer, I feel like it would connect. And while we're here, let's check the missiles. Out of range, and just walked into range. Actually kind of perfect. That dozer was straddling the line. Just straddling the line of being out of range. And so as soon as they walked into the range, it auto-locked on. I'm going in some weird direction now. I'm not sure where I'm going. I believe this is towards Digger. Yeah, this is. So I'm going to go down to Digger's area. Or I could just use this phone. We got some micro coils. Alright. I had to kill all the enemies so I could use the telephone, because we're trying to exit the Matrix right now. Didn't know explosives had a range limit? Yeah, they do. They do. I mean, everything has a limit eventually. Back to Zion. So right there, I'm already learning stuff with you guys. I've never explored the guns that in depth. That's pretty neat. Alright, let's go back. I'll even use the Matrix again to get closer to the tetrapod. Save like 2 seconds. Now, where was I? Okay. So that is the explosive shell. Very powerful. Almost as powerful as the shotgun. You have more range, but it costs more money. So, I mean, you get something extra for your cash. Afterwards, we have Enhanced Shotgun Shell. I believe this is also New Game Plus only. Upgrades the shotgun shell's flechette projectiles. Increases attack power of shotgun by 20%, which is very nice. So, great for New Game Plus. Great if you're playing on hard mode, just to deal a little bit more damage. Same thing with the explosive shells. However, a little bit better. These both cost 60% extra. But I guess they realized that the shotgun is so strong because it's cheaper ammo and stuff. And it's harder to miss with. Since the explosive shells have a very narrow path versus the, spread of a shotgun is so wide, you do have, like, for example, even if you only hit a boss with, like, some of the pellets, let's say less than half of them, it takes one little pellet connection to interrupt them. So it's also better than the explosive shell in that sense, because it's more guaranteed, more consistent interruptions against bosses at least. And so the way they balanced it was, this one, the upgrade to damage for explosive shells, it increases the damage by 40% instead of this one is only 20%. So there's that. Although they both cost just 6. Granted, in a way, this upgrade for the explosive shells costs 12, because you do have to buy this upgrade first. You can't, like, choose which one you want. So you're going to need a lot of drone upgrade modules. You're going to have to collect a ton in your subsequent playthroughs to get everything. And that is the shotgun and explosive shell upgrades. After that, we have the Stinger Missile Pod. Now, this thing only costs 1, attaches the Stinger Missile Pod to the drone. Maximum 16 Stingers can be carried, and up to 3 Stingers can be locked onto a target and fired simultaneously in ranged mode. Now, the subsequent upgrades just give you more missiles locking on, and more capacity. So this one, you start with 16 missiles, you can lock on 3. Then you have 24 missiles, you can lock on 5. And then you can go up to 32 missiles, lock on 8, which is nice because, each one connects for more damage. But just the Stinger by itself, the Stinger missiles, as a weapon, it is definitely my least used. In fact, I never use this thing, just because it does take a while to lock on, and, personally, I don't really find it, I don't like slowing down my gameplay with this. Let me show you kind of how it works in combat. Let's go to a random whatever out in the wasteland. Hello, JHP, Mr. Park. Annyeonghaseyo to you. We're talking about some upgrades for the drone. We're also talking about the equipment. I haven't gotten to the equipment yet, though, but I'm going to be talking about everything today. Okay, where should we go? How about... Let's go here. Let's go to the solar tower. There's some enemies around here, which are cool. I think there's mostly hedge boars. Alright. Now, the Stinger doesn't have infinite range. I think it has roughly the same range as the explosive shells. So, like, as you can see, that hedge boar over there, I can't reach that. In my opinion, the Stinger is best used kind of at range, naturally, because since it takes a little while to lock on, you don't want to be in an enemy's face. By the way, if you locked on, you're not committed to the missiles. You can just let go of L2. So if you look at my inputs, you can just let go of L2, and then you're safe to let go of R2. Because typically, how you would interact is, you know, you would lock on with your missiles and let go of R2. It does good damage, but this ammo is kind of expensive. By the way, if you don't want to spend your entire volley, like if you don't want to spend the entire flurry of missiles, you can just let go a little bit earlier before they all lock on. That last volley, I only sent 3 missiles. But if we look at the shop, let's compare it to the explosive shells. Something is chasing me. Just overkill. Something is chasing me. There's another one. Oh, no, we're good. We're good. Okay, actually, stingers only cost 30. Wow, that's really cheap. Wow, these things are very cheap. Granted, I guess you're buying them in bulk. You're buying 32 at a time. So they could not have made them that expensive. Otherwise, who would be using this, you know? Like for a full reload on your stingers, it costs, well, this is not exactly a full reload, but to buy 32 of them, which is most of the way there, it's costing me 960 gold. In fact, that's a good test. Hold on, let's do that real quick. I need one more enemy. I can't just, by the way, you can't just free shoot these whenever you want. You gotta have an enemy to lock on, otherwise it does not connect. Alright, let's empty this. Investigate the first trace of Sue. Oh. I guess I never did that quest on this playthrough. I'm gonna spend all of my shotgun ammo just to showcase how much it costs to refill. And let's also do slug. Okay, so I just emptied all of my guns. So we have 0 ammo on us. 0 ammo. Here's how much it costs to refill. Although I'm wearing the eagle eye, let me take that off. Actually, yeah, no, I will take off the eagle eye. So if you wear the eagle eye exospine, you will have greater... Hold on, where is it? If you're wearing the eagle eye exospine, you do have more capacity for all of your guns. But let's say we're not wearing the eagle eye. In order to refill your ammo, which by default, like if you're just upgrading the skill tree, you have 50 ammo for the slug. It costs 750. For the shotgun, it's 12 of them, it costs 720. For the explosive shells, there's 8 of them, it costs 720. For the stinger, there's 32 of them, it costs 960. For the blaster cell, there's just 3, it costs 600. So the blaster cell is by far the most expensive, but you don't use it very often because of how long it takes to charge. And also, you know, I mean, because of how infrequent you're firing it, you know, not giving it a big capacity kind of makes sense. It's actually good that they did not make the missiles too expensive because you have to refill so many of them once you upgrade the skill tree. I mean, 32? Damn. That's a lot. But anyway, if you're playing on patch 1.007 or later, you have the ammo package. I believe it's 1.007 this was added, but you can just quickly rebuy all your ammo at once. And let me respawn some enemies by resting at the camp here. Just so we can keep firing our stingers and keep talking about them. Okay. So yeah, 32 stingers. Now let's see, where is the range on this? Exactly. So that guy's in range. I'm going to start stepping back slowly. I think that if you step back, it does break the lock-on. But to be honest, I've never tested this, so we're learning together right now. Hold on, in fact, let me go over here, where I can walk backwards better. In fact, it might be easier this way. I'm just going to walk towards him. Notice how, since he was straddling the line, it wasn't until I got a little bit closer that it finished locking on. It actually stopped at like 2 missiles. Let's see, does this still connect though if I'm from far away? It does still connect, so that's interesting. This will probably never matter, but if you are right on the edge of the range of the missile turret, or like of your missile launcher, look at how fast he's running. I don't know why that was so adorable. because it was kind of waddling a little bit. Anyway, the point is, once the missiles have locked on, it seems that they still connect. However, I'm sure there's a range limit to that as well. So like that guy right there, let's walk all the way back. Let's see if I can get all the way back to the missile, or like, I'm gonna go all the way back to the solar tower and see if these still connect. I'm gonna walk straight backwards. We're doing science right now. But yeah, obviously, at this stage, we're so far that this would not lock on normally. But since we already locked on, if we just keep walking backwards, where's the limit on the range of this thing? I don't know. That's what we're finding out today on Mythbusters. Okay, that's pretty good. I feel like this is a crazy distance already. Can I go inside the solar tower? Oh yeah, okay, we're inside. As you can see, we're indoors now. Does this connect? I can't believe that connects. That's kind of amazing. So there is so much extra range beyond the lock-on. Because, like, look. Watch, the guy's running towards me. It's not locking on. Only did this just now. This guy got in range, and so they connected. The missiles locked on. But yeah, just to give you an idea, the missiles have more range than the lock-on, which is an interesting fact you might not have known. In fact, I didn't even know that until right now, because I was just curious about it. Right, so let's go back. Let's go back to our drone skill tree. Back at Lily. Although I don't really have to do that. I could just do it right here. We don't have to go to Lily. Alright. Now, once you get to New Game Plus, you can upgrade the damage by 20% with this upgrade Enhanced Stinger. Now, the reason that the Stinger I'm not so partial to it is just because it's kind of slow, and if I'm going to be using a slow weapon, I'd rather be using the Blaster Cell, because at least for the Blaster Cell, I have a lot of nostalgia attached to it, using it so much during the demo. And actually, a real benefit between, like, okay, another reason I really love the Blaster Cell is that, unlike the missiles, the Stinger, as you can see, if you're not locking on, you cannot just fire them. And there's one particular enemy called the Hive. Later in the game, it's a machine hive. But let me show you that enemy. Okay, these guys. Where's the Hive? Okay, the Hive and machine hive. These two wall enemies, the guys that just block off progress and you have to kill them, you cannot target them with the Stinger missiles. It's impossible. You cannot target them. However, you can still shoot them with the Blaster Cell. And so, in like just playthroughs, I regularly am using the Blaster Cell, and even on New Game Hard speedruns, I like to use the Blaster Cell to take out these hives because, well, I can't use my missiles, and so it's a very efficient way, in my opinion, of taking them out. Because, you know, once you have like double-edged gears on and stuff, the Blaster Cell, even if you don't upgrade it, it does okay damage, and then if you do upgrade it, I think it's actually pretty good. However, the Blaster Cell really is not very viable in boss fights outside of when they're transitioning phases, and if you know they're going to do something very slow, then you can safely get it in. But, you know, bosses, they side strafe so quickly that generally they're pretty quick. Not all of them. Like, I guess you could use it against Juggernaut, you'd be fine. But generally, they're pretty quick when they're side strafing, that it's easy for them to dodge the Blaster Cell unless you're very mindful of when you're using it. However, compared to the Stinger, this one is easier to lock on because, well, it actually locks on. It's not a free aim. Unlike this, which is free aiming, you know? And once you start shooting, it's kind of slow to turn around and stuff, as you can see. Like, here's left, right, and then once you're aiming, once you're shooting, turning, like, changing the momentum back is pretty slow, which makes sense because it's such a heavy, big cannon, you know? It makes sense. It feels realistic in that sense. It feels heavy, but not good for boss fights. Meanwhile, the Stinger, I think, actually is pretty good for boss fights. I just don't really like using it. But I think you could reasonably use this if you wanted, if it fits into your playstyle. The demo came out almost 1 year ago. It came out exactly a year ago last week. How much nostalgia can you really have for it? We had tons. Personally, I felt a lot of nostalgia. Agatoki, you know? I played the demo over a year ago now. We played it last week to commemorate its 1 year anniversary, at least when the demo leaked. If you didn't download it when it leaked, it would have come out, I think next week. I don't remember when the demo came out like for everybody. I think it was end of March. Or maybe it was early April. I don't remember. But yeah, it's very nostalgic for me. And you know, it's also tied to, for me, it's more nostalgic because it's when I started making YouTube content, and then that just became like a regular part of my life. So as I was saying, Stinger Missile I think has more applications against boss fights than the Blaster Cell, but I find the Blaster Cell more generally useful, and I think it's so much cooler. I just like using it more. But you might feel this another way. You might feel the Stinger is just much cooler, and then you can use it in your gameplay. So that's one way to make your own gameplay, like make your gameplay your own stylistically with the different ammos that you use and stuff, and how you use them as well. Because, you know, you can make the Stinger look pretty cool. Although it doesn't come close to the utility of these two, the shotgun and explosive shells, it's pretty cool. You know, it's at least like for example, let's say you went like probably a cool thing you could do is like lock on and then immediately rush into that enemy. So for example, something like that, you know, this isn't a boss, so it died pretty much instantly, but you can chase your missiles with a rush. That's kind of cool. But yeah, I love the Blaster Cell. This thing's awesome. And of course, you can kill multiple enemies with it, although it's a little bit trickier if they're not close together, because you got to move it around, you know, and it is slow to move around. But yeah, the missiles also, I'm not entirely sure if there's a limit to how many enemies you could lock onto. I guess theoretically, you could lock onto 8 enemies at once with it, because that is how many missiles you can like shoot at once. But is it? Hold on, wait, let me check something. Was it 8 or 12? I think it is 8. I think it is 8. Hang on a sec. Back to the repair console. Drone. Yeah, up to 8 Stingers can be locked onto a target. But as you can see, if there's a group of enemies, it might lock on 3 here, 3 here, 2 there. I guess theoretically, if you had somehow 8 creepers on screen, and if you aimed, like if you swept across them at the exact perfect... This would be, I think, really hard to do. But if you could somehow get it to lock on only 1 missile, I think it would fire at 8 different enemies. But generally, that's not how things go. Because if you're hovering over a target for even more than like half a second, it's going to give that target multiple missiles. We could try to test this. Let me see if I can find a good spot where there's a lot of enemies around. I think by the ship. In fact, it's nearby. Let's go over there. Over here. There's a good chunk of enemies right here. I thought there were like a lot of creepers though. Maybe it's on the other side. Let's do some more science. And then after we finish talking about this, we'll be talking about the equipment. So that'll be the next part of the stream. Looking forward to the PC version. I cannot wait for PC. I cannot wait, JHP. Launching this June with DLSS 4 and frame generation. Cool. Enhances performance and image quality. Nice. Yeah, no, it's going to be awesome. Here we go. We've got a lot of these. I forgot what they're called. What are those guys called? Let me check. Back to the databank. Natiba. Those are... They're called Borlets. So the Borlets here. Okay, we have a bunch of them. Let's try panning across. That's not how I wanted it to go. 5. It seems to only lock onto 5. Oh wait, we got 6 there. Check it out. I got 6 targets. That's pretty good. If you're perfect, if you have like exactly 8 enemies on screen and you manage to target them all at the same time, I guess it would go and target 8 enemies, but that's just kind of hard to make happen. So, but to give you an idea, you can target at least 6 as we just showed. Now let's respawn. Quick death abuse. Hello, Sinut. Thank you for tuning in. Zao An to you. Okay. I think let me just wrap up on the drone upgrade module. Tree. This skill tree. And that wraps up the entire drone skill tree. And my general thoughts on the guns as well. Like just kind of combine them at the same time. Okay, on to the next thing, which is going to be the equipment. Okay. So that marks the end of that. I'm going to make a timestamp here, 108. Now we're going to talk about equipment. I think for equipment, let's jump into boss challenge. What's a good background music that we could use? Abaddon would be 807. It should be 807. Let's do that. If it gives me 807, I'll be happy with that. Oh, hell yeah. Perfect. Okay. Let me unequip. Let me go alphabetical. Yeah, alphabetical. Alphabetical. Nice. Now, I think let's start with the Exospines, shall we? How many are there anyway? Yeah, there's not that many, so this portion will be pretty fast, I think. We're gonna go for top down. Top down. Or I could go in the order that we find them. No, I'm gonna go top down. It's just simpler. It's alphabetical, it makes more sense. Okay. This begins rather... Okay, this section moving forward is going to be talking about all of the Exospines in the game. And I'll talk about the Mark II versions briefly, although they're the same thing. It's just slightly better. So for the most part, we're just going to talk about the basic Exospine version. Mark II is always just a slight improvement. Now, the Beta Trance Exospine. As you can see, this thing says, increases beta energy recharged by 12%, attack power of beta skills increases by 12%, and successful beta skill hits have a chance to place you in a trance. Beta skills won't consume beta energy in trance mode. Now, this Exospine is definitely one of the strongest in the game. In speedrunning, on new game speedruns, it has great applications in taking out bosses really fast. I talked about it as well during the skill tree portion of the video, but when we talked about Crosswave, Shockwave and Crosswave, combined with this, you have the opportunity to do like literally 2.5, almost 3 Crosswaves. So it's very powerful when you get a trance and you do multiple Crosswaves. That's just a lot of damage and a lot of knockdown. As well as, recharging a little bit faster is quite nice. And, more damage. So definitely one of the best at damage dealing. The Mark II version, all it does is increases the 12% to 15%. They didn't change it much because it's already super strong. Like, even if you didn't have access to this, it would still be insane. So this thing is powerful just by nature of the fact that it's so quick to build up beta energy. And with the one beta skill, Crosswave, that you can fit in multiples. For the other ones, you can only do 1 to 2. So, I mean, during a beta trance. Of course, as you can see there, the third bullet point, the beta trance, which does not... It means you can do beta skills for free without costing beta energy. The faster the skill is, the more you can do. That's why with Crosswave specifically, this is so powerful. That's beta trance. Then we have the burst trance Exospine, which is my favorite Exospine in the whole game. Definitely my favorite Exospine. This one says increases max burst energy by 600, which gives you... Actually, hold on. How much does this buff it by? Let me see. So right there I have a lot of squares. I can see roughly where it stops. And if I put on burst, I have the same amount of squares. So, I don't know what that's about. I don't know how that works, honestly, because it is supposed to increase your max burst energy. Take this off. Oh my gosh, this is not Dark Souls, so I'm pressing square to take it off, but you remove it by just pressing X on it again. Let me just start over. Next, we have the Burst Trance Exospine, which is my personal favorite Exospine in the whole game. The 3 bullet points are, increases max burst energy by 600, increases burst skill attack power by 30%, and recharges burst energy by 50 when combo attacks level 4 or higher are used. Which just means Onslaught 4, Incursion 4. Those are the only 2. So, you get an extra boost, which is great, and combined with, just having a higher... The reason that it increases... Okay, unlike the Beta Trance, right? they don't need to increase your ceiling because you can build up beta so fast, and also the beta skills cost less compared to the burst abilities. They cost 3, or even the extensions to like chain reflection 1, counter chain 1, both of those, like all of the extensions for burst abilities. I'm talking about these, by the way. Like these things, they all cost 3 as well. So not only do these cost 3, the abilities themselves, all these abilities also cost 3. So as a result, they must have felt like, okay, we got to give them a little something extra. So we're going to give them more ceiling, more capacity on burst energy. And then also, because you can't spam them as quickly as like beta, notice how it increases the damage by 30%, and then here 45% on Mark II, compared to here, it's 12% damage boost, and then the Mark II is only 15%. It's such a small little incremental boost compared to these, because they're very aware. Shift Up knows their game very well, and so since the burst stuff is a lot weaker, they increase it so much more just to reward you for using these compared to, you know, the beta skills, which are like, the shockwave is like a gun, you know, just shoot down bosses. This, you know, you can't build as quickly, and also it's not as powerful because you can't do them as frequently. So you do get much bigger buffs. But I love this thing. I love it because I get to do my burst stuff more because of that extra capacity. And the Mark II version is so crazy. Like the fact that everything gets buffed by a lot. Max burst extra, like max energy increases from 600 to 800. Attack power 30% to 45, 15% more. That's so much. And then also it charges more as well when you do longer combos, from 50 to 75 bonus. So this thing is really, really strong, in my opinion. If you like burst, this thing is great. You're already familiar with this. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the burst trance Exospine, my favorite in the game. Then we get into one of the more fringe Exospines, the camouflage type Exospine. Now, believe it or not, we did use this kind of a lot during our Taki mode only challenge run, where we only used Taki mode as our only damage source. And as a result, anytime there was a mob of enemies, you know, if I wanted to kill them, I would have to charge Taki mode on one of them, just like sitting there parrying or dodging forever until I charged Taki mode, just so I could then enter Taki mode and kill them. And in order to avoid fighting mobs, sometimes I would just be sneaky and I would use the camouflage Exospine. So this thing says, decreases enemies' field of view. So you know how sometimes it feels like enemies just have eyes in the back of their heads? Well, this decreases the cone. If it's like normally like this, now it's like this. So it does decrease the cone. Like pretend you're playing Metal Gear Solid. Enemies' field of view is a little bit less. So they're going to be slower to aggro, less likely to aggro if you're being sneaky and just trying to quickly, you know, very sneakily open up a crate, a chest that has a key item like a fusion cell. Next, it does increases melee attack power by 17.5% for 10 seconds upon a successful execution. Now, if you've never seen this, when you do an execution, which is to say an assault or an ambush, whether you do a backstab or an aerial ambush, you know, assault kill, your Eve will glow red. She'll have like an aura, like a red force field around her, and that'll show you that, okay, hey, you're dealing extra damage right now. And then it only lasts for 10 seconds. So for 10 seconds, you'll have that little red aura. And then it restores 15% of max HP upon a successful execution, which is pretty cool. So you're kind of like, it puts you into this Assassin's Creed kind of mode where you're getting damage buffs after stealth kills and you get a little bit of HP back. So I feel like this can be pretty useful in a casual playthrough if you're running around outside in the desert or in the wasteland, either one, and you know, you're encountering a lot of mobs of enemies. Maybe you haven't unlocked all of the... Naturally, your first time exploring, you wouldn't have unlocked all of the camps, you know, immediately. And so this can be nice because you recharge some HP. Now, if you get the Mark II version in New Game Plus, it increases your attack power after doing a stealth kill from 17.5 to 25%. An extra 7.5%. That's pretty good. And then an extra 7.5% max HP recovery as well. So that's pretty good. Let me show you what that looks like, though. Oh, wait. We're in boss challenge. I'm not going to show you what that looks like. But if you... I promise you. Eve glows red. She has like a red orb. Kind of like... Think of... Hold on. Let me go back to the equipment. If I get a clip of this, I'll put it in later. I'm going to edit it in post. But it's kind of like... Like, you know how Sora in Kingdom Hearts, when you cast Arrow, you have that kind of bubble around you. It's just like that, except it's red. And that shows you, oh, I'm still in the attack buff. You know, I have this buff lasts for 10 seconds. I may as well do some extra damage. Which stacks, like if you do a chain charge, if you do chain charge right after, which is right after an ambush or an assault kill, you can chain charge into another enemy. You would get a buff. Rather, the buff from the camouflage exospine would, you know, make your chain charge stronger. And chain charge is already pretty strong. So you'd be dealing a good chunk of damage with that. So there's that. Next, after the camouflage, we have another one of my favorite exospines ever, which is the chain type exospine. This thing is so cool. Now, I'm more nostalgic to this because I used it so much during the demo. In fact, it was the only exospine that I used during the demo, because the ones were reflex and protection. So I loved the chain type exospine in the demo. What it does is increases attack power of combo attacks level 2 or higher by 27%. Crit damage increases by 23%, and increases crit rate of combo attacks level 4 or higher by 30%. So you get some crits more often, then your crit damage is also buffed, and any combo attack that's level 2 or higher is increased by 27%, which is a lot of them. Like your bread and butter combos are all level 2 or higher, and it also buffs these attacks. If you do, for example, counter 2, notice how it says, hold on, notice how there it says counter 2 can be used upon us, blah, blah, blah. This is a combo attack skill, the very last sentence there. This is a combo attack skill, the last clause. Since it's a combo attack skill, and it's level 2 or higher, this would get buffed. Same thing is true for Reflection 2. So this one would also get buffed. And then, if you do Chain Reflection 2, this would also get buffed. Or Counter Chain 2, buffed. So, it's not just for the regular combos, it's for little things like that as well. So chain type buffs all of that on top of course, you know, your onslaught 2, 3, 4, your incursion 2, 3, 4, all those things are buffed as well. And if you do onslaught 4 or incursion 4, you have a much higher chance of getting a critical hit, which is cool. By the way, if you're newer or if you're playing on PC, you wouldn't even know that when the game originally came out, on the first few patches, there was no visual indication that you got a crit. Now, if you get a critical hit, there's like lightning and stuff. You can hear it, and there's a lightning effect on your sword and on the enemy, so you can tell, okay, that was a crit, which is nice. So you might notice if you're wearing chain type plus something else like we're gonna get to it later, but the impact, you'll see your crits are happening more often. So I love the chain type exospine. The Mark II buffs everything quite a bit as well. You get 13% more damage on the first perk, you get 12% more damage on the second perk for the crits, and then the crit rate increases from 30 to 45% on the last perk on combo attacks level 4 or higher, which is cool. Then we get on to the Eagle Eye Exospine. Now, the Eagle Eye type Exospine. The Eagle Eye type Exospine is one of the most overpowered things in the entire game. Right there next to the Beta Trance, one of the strongest things because it's making something that's already very strong even stronger. So the shotgun and explosive shells, we talked about how powerful they are earlier. This makes it so much better even still. Ranged attack power increases by 10%. It's not much, but it's already doing good damage, so the extra buff is just like even more. It's even just the cherry on top. But then even better, you get more capacity. Increases the max capacity of all owned ammo. And what's cool about this is that if you wear the Eagle Eye Exospine, it increases your capacity. You go to the shop, you buy ammo, you max it out, and then you take off the Eagle Eye Exospine. It's not going to take away your ammo. So, for example, like the shotgun, normally you can carry 12. Well, you put this on, now you're carrying 15. So I wear this, buy the ammo, I'm at 15, take the Eagle Eye Exospine off, I'm still at 15 until you go below that, but yeah. This is probably most useful in a casual playthrough for both Lavoirs. So whether you're in Altesse or Abyss Lavoir, you should be wearing this just automatically because since you're not using your sword, chances are that whatever other Exospine you had on is not helping you. So you might want to just put this on no matter what when you're doing Altesse or Abyss. But yeah, the second perk is, like I said, increases the max capacity of all owned ammo. And then the third perk has a chance to recover ammo from successful hits when attacking an enemy's weakness from a distance. What is a weakness? That just means that if you get a retribution, if you get a repulse, the enemy, pretty much every enemy in the game will reveal a weak point. And that weakness, it's orange, it's glowing, it's hard to miss. So if you shoot that, then bam, you're getting a chance to get your ammo back. Also, on some enemies in Altesse or Bislevoire, for example, like the Defilers, those enemies, if you're just shooting them naturally, as they're getting closer to dying, they will also reveal a weak point on their face. So that happens sometimes too, and if you shoot them in the face, you have the chance to get ammo back. As well as the bosses at the end of both Lavoirs, both of them have tons of weak points. You know, you have to shoot 3 or 5 of them, depending on which one. So the bosses at the end of both Altesse and Abyss, if you're shooting the orange parts, you have the chance to get ammo back. Now, the Eagle Eye is also extremely useful in New Game Hard speedruns, because both Maelstrom and Maelstrom 2 are like huge roadblocks where if you don't max this out, they're going to be very, very slow boss fights. So the reason is, even if you go in with extra capacity, if you don't have the third perk, it's going to take forever, because they have so much health on New Game Hard, and you're not dealing that much damage, that if you don't have the ability to regen ammo, you're going to be down to Slug, and then you're going to run out of Slug, and then you just have to wait. So you have to basically run around and farm ammo on the corpses until they drop ammo, pick it up, and then kill Maelstrom really slowly. And so on New Game Hard speedrunning, it's like you make it a point to get enough materials to max this out, the Eagle Eye, get it to the 3rd level, so you can get some ammo back. That way, every time you're shooting a weak point, you're getting some shotgun ammo back, you're getting whatever back. So very, very powerful. Excellent in casual playthroughs for just carrying more ammo, so you can interrupt bosses more, as well as making both Lavoirs a little nicer, a little bit smoother experience. And since it is so powerful, the Mark II version, it increases the damage only by an extra 5%. So not much, because it's already really good. It also increases the max capacity of all own ammo a little bit more. And then you have a higher chance to recover ammo when successful hits, you know, attacking an enemy's weakness. So it makes everything just a little bit better. The difference on capacity is not much. Let me see. What is the difference, actually? Let me check. Actually, I can't check it here because we're in boss challenge. So, whatever. I'm not going to check that. It's just a little bit better. It's a little bit better. Okay. If I get a clip of that, I'll put it in post. I'll edit it in afterwards. But yeah, that's Eagle Eye type Exospine Mark 1 and 2. A little improvement, but just the base one is still very, very good. Next up, we have the Grenadier type Exospine. This is a really fringe one. Now, this one says, increases the damage and effect of combat consumables. Powerful Natibas are not affected. That just means bosses. I don't know if there's any other bosses, like any other non-boss enemies that are not affected, but I know for sure it means bosses. I don't think there's other stuff that it could possibly affect, like maybe... To be fair, I've never tested this. I've used this thing a few times, and it's hard to even notice much of a difference. But, you know, we'll just read the perks, what they say, and take it for face value. So, again, increases the damage and effect of combat consumables. Powerful Natibas, aka bosses, are not affected. The perk 2 is increases the area of effect of combat consumables. So, for example, if you're using any of the grenades, which combat consumables just means grenades. For example, if you're using a shock grenade, which knocks down enemies, now enemies that are a little bit farther will also get knocked down. Or if you're using the one that, you know, reduces shields, reduces balance, it increases the range, the AoE of your grenade. And then the last perk is combat consumables deal increased damage and have a greater effect upon hitting enemies from behind. So I guess if you're using grenades in a stealthy way, I didn't even realize that was a perk, to be honest. I've tried using this thing, I forgot that was the 3rd perk. But apparently if you're doing stealth, it deals a little bit extra damage. The Mark II version just changes, it just adds an adjective, it greatly increases the damage. Powerful Natibas are still not affected by the 1st perk. The 2nd perk does not change at all, still just increases the area of effect. Doesn't greatly increase, it just increases it. And then for the 3rd perk, it deals greatly increased damage and have a greater effect. So it makes your grenades a little bit better. However, the thing is, the grenades are already so... They're just so okay. The best ones are Shock Grenade and Sonic Grenade. Pulse Grenade is just very, very minimally impactful in my experience. And the Smart Mine has pretty much like a couple applications. Practically anyway. You can use a Smart Mine in boss fights and it's cool because it does... Like, it can slow them down a little bit. I remember using this. I used the smart mines a lot during the demo because I was just messing around with Stalker. And it's cool because if Stalker is going in a set path, if they're chasing you, they can walk into a mine. However, it doesn't deal that much damage, and it actually does not stun them, I believe. Let me test right here on Abaddon. If I remember correctly, it does not stun. It does not stun at all. Yeah, so as you can see, it did not interrupt. It did not interrupt the blink. In fact, hold on. Did that even deal damage? Let me check. It did deal damage. Look at how little the damage is. You can see its health bar. That's how much damage it took. So, not a lot of damage. Not a lot of damage. But, I mean, I honestly don't even know, like, I can't even recommend this thing, to be honest. It's just so... I'd rather be wearing anything else. This has to be one of the worst Exospines in the game. Definitely one of the worst ones. But you might be able to find a fringe application for it, like something really, really random, where it's really good. Against a particular group of enemies, like a big mob, I don't know. Maybe in Eidos 9 it's kind of good. Possibly. In Eidos 9, there's some big mobs of enemies there that it might make your grenade better. However, you know what would be even better? Is just using one of the big AoE burst abilities or something. But yeah, that's Grenadier type Exospine. That last perk is so just random to me. It deals extra damage when hitting enemies from behind. So if you use a grenade from behind, it's a little bit better. Like slightly better. It deals more shield damage or something. That's crazy. While we're talking about the grenades though, I should mention a little bit about the grenades. The shock grenade is really, really strong. This thing is definitely the best grenade. Just knocking enemies down, especially when combined with, we're going to get to it very soon, but the suppression Exospine that keeps enemies down longer. Making an enemy collapse is extremely good. Pulse grenade enemies shield, damage to enemies shield is pretty weak. Smart mine is okay. It has mostly the best application in the speedrun at least is you can kill the sculling on the elevator before Juggernaut as it lands with just 2 smart mines. At least on normal. On hard, you gotta shoot it like 1 extra time, but whatever. On new game hard, I mean. Still though, it makes it, we use it every speedrun. We use the smart mine. Sonic grenade, we also use every speedrun. It's nice against the bots during the Arisa segment. So right there, the enemies have 2 and 4 balance respectively, and it damages 2 balance. So this grenade will knock off 2. It'll put one of the enemies straight into a retribution. I'll probably put a clip over this segment while I'm talking about it. And then all you gotta do is spend 1 more sonic grenade to knock down the other one, and it's a nice way to clean them up. It's similar to using a fully upgraded Descending Break. So Descending Break also deals 2 balance damage. But yeah, those are the grenades. Definitely Shock Grenade, though, is the best by far. It's really good. Bam. Alright, moving on. So after the Grenadier type Exospine, we have the Impact type Exospine. I'm a big fan of this one as well. This one is so cool just because it creates these awesome lightning arcs. So here's the perks. Crit rate increases by 9.5%. Unleashes unstable energy when enemies are dealt a critical hit. Unstable energy deals chained damage to nearby enemies. And then unstable energy deals more chained damage. So basically, when you're fighting a group of enemies, anytime you get a critical hit, there will be these arcs and they jump from enemy to enemy. And it looks really cool. And it deals a little bit of extra it deals a little bit of extra damage. It's not really that much damage, but it's still nice if you have other things buffing your critical hits. You can make a decent build out of it. Still not as powerful as the other stuff, but if you want to just do something different, I think it's a pretty cool one, and I just really enjoy... Personally, I just really enjoy the visual effects. Now, from Mark 1 to Mark 2, it buffs the crit rate from 9.5 to 14%, and then everything just deals a little bit more damage. The third perk actually does not change, but for the second perk, Unstable Energy deals powerful chained damage to nearby enemies. So that's how they buff it, and then the extra, the extra 4.5% on crits. Definitely not one of the best ones. Probably just average. I think it's much more useful than like Grenadier type Exospine, but this is probably not one that you're going to be using a ton. But if you're wearing it, it's not the worst, definitely. And I like wearing it just because it's fun. I like all the chained damage. Like, legitimately, I think that in a casual playthrough, I think if you're just in Eidos 9, because that's when you fight like big mobs of enemies, I think it's not bad to wear this just for that unstable energy. Especially if you've got other stuff on, for example, like the chain type Exospine. Like if you're using the impact, I would also wear it with chain type Exospine just to get that extra crit rate. You know, especially like Mark II, you're getting a lot of crit. You have a very high crit rate if you have both Mark IIs on in a New Game Plus playthrough, because then your crit rate of combo attacks level 4 or higher is 45%, plus on top of this, an extra 14%. Now it's 59% chance to deal a crit if you're doing a big combo level 4 or higher, which is... Wait, does it say level 4 or higher? There's nothing higher than level 4, so I don't even know why it says that. But basically that just means Onslaught 4, Incursion 4. So that's the impact type Exospine. A very cool one. Not very good, but very cool. Then we have the Judgment type Exospine. Now this thing is... It doesn't sound that useful, right? All it does is Taki energy and charge increases by 15%. Taki energy consumption decreases by 15%. Wait, hold on, stop. Let me go back. Hold on, I have to mention that this is a spoiler coming up. Does the chained damage from impact Exospine affect bosses? No, it doesn't. It doesn't, actually, Agatoki. That's a good point, because the unstable energy is only on nearby enemies. So as you can see, it says, unleashes unstable energy when enemies are dealt a critical hit. Unstable energy deals chained damage to nearby enemies. And so if there's no nearby enemies, it's not dealing any extra damage. The only boss where this could do anything is against, I guess, Karakuri. She's the only boss with spawns. So theoretically, you could get a crit on her, and that could deal a little bit of damage to the Kokishis around her. But, well, no, it doesn't deal extra damage. Just against a single enemy, the only thing extra that this would do is give you a higher crit rate. That's all it would do. So it's really more for mobs. Very good question. Maybe they were going to add more combos, but they decided against it. I suppose, or they were future-proofing it. Maybe, oh, Tazel, maybe a future character that we get has more combos. I don't know. And then it would make sense to have that clause, because otherwise, what's the point of that? There's no combo that's level 4, that's higher than level 4. Not in this game. Okay, after the impact Exospine, the next Exospine is a little bit of a spoiler, so if you don't want to get spoiled at all, maybe skip ahead until you see me talking about the protection Exospine. So we're going to talk about Judgment next. Okay, there's your spoiler warning. So we have the Judgment type Exospine. What this thing does, it says, Taki energy charge increases by 15%, Taki energy consumption decreases by 15%, and manually leaving Taki mode damages nearby enemies and downs them. That last one is really, really good. Now, you know, I'm kind of biased. I did an entire Taki mode only challenge run where this was very critical. That would have been so hard if we didn't have Judgment Exospine. But getting faster Taki mode charges, and then it lasts longer as well because the consumption decreases, and then that little extra chunk of damage that you get if you strategically leave Taki mode right before it ends, all very relevant. Plus, you get the down, so it downs them, which is very nice. The Mark II version increases everything just by a little bit extra. You get, instead of 15%, it's 22.5% for both perks 1 and 2. So 15 to 22.5, extra 7.5% damage. Or consumption. That's pretty good. And then it also greatly deals damage. It greatly damages nearby enemies and downs them when you manually leave Taki mode. If you didn't know, so like of course you enter Taki mode with both left stick and right stick clicking them in. So L3 and R3 activates it. And then if you press L3 and R3 again during Taki mode, it exits Taki mode, and then you'll get like a kind of evil put her foot down, and she'll stomp on the floor, and that gives you a little bit of an AoE, and that deals some damage because it's nearby enemies. So good against a little group as well, but really good against bosses. Super useful. The damage is legit on the Mark II Exospine. And then even in like regular challenge runs, for example, like this is a challenge run Exospine. In the no camps challenge run that we did, okay, and that one's more particular because that one we couldn't upgrade our Exospines, so I only had the first perk. But the first perk is not bad. Charge increases by 15%. So I didn't use it, unfortunately. I didn't have the foresight to think this would be useful. So during that challenge run, I did not use it, but I would strongly recommend getting this because it would have been good. You would have Taki mode 15% more often, which is great. In a casual playthrough, probably not that good, unless you're doing the achievement or the trophy to kill like 100 enemies or something in Taki mode. Then definitely wear this. Of course wear this, because it'll make your Taki mode last longer, and it'll, you know, you can get more kills during each activation. Plus, as you're exiting Taki mode, I believe that also kills enemies. Rather, that counts towards the achievement. Because the achievement is like kill 100, and I'm pretty sure that exiting the action of exiting Taki mode, that damage source from the third perk, should count towards that. But yeah, Judgment type Exospine, great applications in challenge runs. In casual runs, it's okay, I guess. Probably not very good in casual runs. But if you're doing the trophy for Taki mode, definitely you want to be wearing this. After that, we have the Protection type Exospine. Now, this one is really, really good, and I love this one for practice. If you've seen my boss challenge, like if you've seen my boss tutorial, I have a no damage tutorial on how to master any boss. I recommend wearing the Protection type Exospine, going into story mode, and just staying alive as long as possible and just studying bosses that way. And this thing is great at that. It's great at increasing your longevity. Damage received from enemies decreases by 10%. Already not bad. Shield's protection level increases by 1 at maximum. That's insane. That is actually... You have no idea how good that is. Shield protection level, what it is... Notice how Eve has 2 bars. Wait, you can't see there. Notice how in the bottom left, Eve has 2 chunks of shield. So there's 2 separate rectangles. Now, if I wear the shield protection Exospine... If we put this bad boy on... Okay... She now has 3 rectangles, so there's an extra rectangle. What that means is when your shields are in that third rectangle, if they're still above that second rectangle, you're taking less damage, so it's reducing even more. Think about it like if you're at the 3rd level, you're reducing like, let's just say 30%. You're reducing 30% of the damage. I don't know what the actual number is. We don't have values, but let's pretend it's 30%. So as long as I'm still in that first section of shield, every hit that's coming at me, let's say something normally deals 100 damage, now it only deals 70 damage. Then once you get down to the second tier, now you're only reducing 20% of the damage. So you take 80 of what should have been 100. Then you get down to the last little rectangle. Now you're only reducing 10%. So if it would deal 100, you're taking 90% of that damage. For example, I don't know what the values are, like actual values, but basically that 3rd tier gives you so much extra protection. It's really, really strong. Especially if you're just learning a boss, or if you're just trying to survive, if you're doing something, you know, that's really challenging you. This is a great, great way to increase your longevity. I love the Protection type Exospine. I love this thing. I love recommending this for studying bosses. Super, super good. The last perk is has a chance to restore HP for 5 seconds while guarding or parrying when HP is 20% or less. So the simple act of guarding or parrying an attack, if you're low on health, you have the chance to, you know, you'll heal a little bit. And when that's happening, you'll see Eve is glowing green a little bit. It's pretty cool. I practiced, you know, I was messing around with this in during the demo, and she does kind of glow green. So you have a visual indication as well, which is nice. And it's very good. The Mark II version just makes it a little bit better. So now it's 15% damage received from enemies decreases by 15%. The second perk is shield protection level increases by 1 at max, and then also max shield increases per protection level, which is awesome. So now your 3rd level is even better. So all of your shield levels, the max shield increases. So that's amazing. Has a chance to restore HP for 5 seconds while guarding or parrying when HP is 30% or less. So it has the chance to proc more often because you don't gotta be so low. But yeah, Protection Exospine. Definitely, this is a good one I recommend using in, like, practically. It has really good applications for learning bosses, or if there's like a tough segment or a tough boss that you're struggling with, this will give you a lot extra longevity. And there's no shame in using this when you're just playing through the game for the first time. Definitely recommend the Protection type Exospine. Big fan of this one. Highly recommended for learning bosses. And that segues straight into, in my opinion, the worst Exospine in the entire game that I don't recommend using ever for learning or anything. Don't ever use this. Don't ever use the reflex type Exospine. I talked about it during the, when we did the skill tree, because I talked about... Wait, did I talk about this? Yeah, no, I definitely did. I definitely talked about this. I remember ranting about how bad the reflex Exospine is. Let's just read what it does. Shield regenerates faster when using guard. Okay, whatever. Makes it easier to use perfect dodge. Makes it easier to use perfect parry. Those two perks are what screw this thing. If you do the Mark II version, it just makes everything worse. So the effect is increased for Mark II, for all of them. Now, if you're using this unupgraded, it's okay. The shield just regenerates faster when using guard. That's fine. I don't think it's as good as protection, but if you're doing a challenge run where you're not upgrading your Exospines, I think that protection is still a little bit better than a reflex. But like, just the first perk by itself is fine. If you're using this upgraded and you have perks 2 and 3, I believe this is actually detrimental in 100% of cases. And I don't recommend using this for any reason ever in this game. The reason is, I ranted about this before, I'll mention it again briefly, but if you are increasing the window of parry or dodge, you're creating worse muscle memory. And if, like, let's say that, here's the thing. If your goal is to learn the game, obviously that's bad, right? Like, that's obviously detrimental and not useful. You want to have the tightest timings as possible so you can learn them better. And the thing is, we already have a buff right here. We have Focus Boost. So this thing, Focus Boost, we talked about this in the skill tree, but this makes it easier to use Perfect Parry. And then we have Reflex Boost. This makes it easier to use Perfect Dodge. So these things, I don't feel these are as offensive because, you know, just one buff makes a big difference compared to no upgrade versus having the upgrade. The difference is already huge. If you put this on top of that, now you're like in some Christmas land where the timing is so random, it's like so off rather, because it's so generous that you're not learning anything. And here's the other thing, if you're trying to just beat a boss, if you just want to beat a boss, you don't care too much to improve, like you don't want to learn, you're like, you know what, I'm good, I don't got to learn every string the boss does, I don't have to learn all the timings. That's very fair. You don't have to play this game for over 600 hours like I have, which is like very degenerate. You can just play the game once or twice, and maybe you're struggling on a boss, you might think, oh, this is good. Trust me, it's not good. You'd rather be using protection. The protection type Exospine will help you get you through a boss way better than this would. Like, that's not even close in my opinion, just because of the extra shield protection level and the reducing damage. So if you just want to get through a boss, use this. Use protection. It's so good. And you have the clutch ability sometimes to heal when you're guarding. When you're low on health, it's so clutch when that happens. This, all it does is make the game worse. If you ask me, that's all this does. And I wouldn't ever recommend using this to anyone at any skill level, for any reason, at any point in time, past, present, future, ever. And that's my thoughts on Reflex Exospine. Just because it makes it harder to learn, and it screws with your timing. If you ever do want to go and like learn, now you're like learning backwards. Like if you play through the whole game with this thing on, to be fair, I've never used this, or like I've used it as a joke, but I've never used it for a long period of time. So I don't know how hard it would be to go back, but at least for me, I already had an adjustment period going from not using these abilities, not using Focus Boost, I had an adjustment period going from Focus Boost and Reflex Boost to not using them. So when we did No Camps Challenge Run, I mention this a lot because we learn a lot from the challenge runs. The challenge runs really do teach you a ton about the game. And, you know, not upgrading the skill tree, having no skill tree, playing through the game like that for like 80 hours is how long that shit took me. It's pretty long. It's a hard challenge run. Going back from having these to not having them was already an adjustment. But if you were using the Reflex, I think the adjustment would be even larger. Of course it would be larger. Especially if you're using the Mark II version. And so that's why I can't really recommend this. I would say steer far away from Reflex. Don't even think about using it. Don't even look at it. Don't ever upgrade it. Don't even think about using this. Trust me. Trust me. And that's if you're trying to like improve at the game. If you just want to get through a boss, use protection. Use protection. Trust me, it's so good. Protection is so good. And I skipped one somehow. I missed recovery. But we're going to talk about that right now. That's what I would recommend using. Don't use Reflex. Use protection and use recovery. Together, use these two things. It will help you get through a boss. This doesn't help anyone. So That's what I think about Reflex Exospine. Definitely bottom tier. In fact, it has its own tier underneath everything, under F tier. It has its own bottom tier, underground tier. Okay, recovery. Here's a good Exospine. I love the recovery type Exospine. So good at, you know, if I'm trying to recommend to someone how to beat a boss, wear this and wear protection. Recovery, what does it do? All recovery effects increase by 10%. Damage taken decreases by 11.5% for a while when a potion is used. That's really nice. So if you just use a potion, you're now taking even less damage. Combined with protection, you're reducing so much damage. That's like really good. Not to mention your potions heal more, so that's awesome. By the way, all recovery effects, that includes your tumblers. So the tumblers that you regenerate each time you rest at a camp. Awesome buff. And then recovers beta energy by 100 when a potion is used. Also amazing. So if I just use a potion, let's put this on actually. Does this work outside of here? My HP is full. Oh, I can't heal. That's okay. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's go into Abaddon. It recovers some beta energy. So let's take some damage here. I took some damage. Perfect. Now, I'm going to use a tumbler. It gave me a little bit of... Oh, whoops. Sorry. I used the tumbler and it recovered a little bit. And as you can see, my health bar is yellow, which shows that I'm taking less damage. So that's what that means. When your health bar is glowing like that, you're getting that extra buff. That extra buff of 11.5% damage decrease for a while when a potion is used. That includes tumblers. It says potion, but it means any healing item. Anything that heals you that you can pop. Okay. Let's zoom in again. Agreed, Reflex is only good if you want to breeze through bosses without too much trouble. I disagree. I think it's not even good for them. Recovery Exo saved your ass when beating Alternativa boss challenge hard mode. There you go. It's good. It's a legitimately good Exospine. And... Okay, hold on. Let's go back to name. I think the recovery type Exospine is legitimately good, and I would recommend someone to lean on it if they're struggling with a boss. I think it's legitimately very good, and it doesn't hurt you in any way. It's not going to create bad habits with timings like the Reflex Exospine. So if you're struggling with anything, if you're struggling with any boss, any section of the game, protection, recovery. Protection, recovery. Awesome. But as you can see, recovers beta energy by 100 when a potion is used. That includes tumblers. And as you can see as well, the second perk, your health bar will glow kind of like there's an orange highlight over it. That lets you know that you're taking less damage during that time until your health bar stops glowing. The Mark II version just increases everything a little bit more. So we go from 10 to 15% on the first perk, 11.5 to 17% on the second perk, and 100 to 150 on the last perk. So pretty nice buffs. Again, this thing is legit. Just increasing, you know, your longevity goes up so much when you're reducing how much damage you're taking, when you're increasing how much you heal with each potion. It's just you're going to last for a long time, even if you're struggling with a boss. So very good. I like both of these. Very good defensive Exospines. Ignore this one. Okay, and the last one is Suppression Exospine. Now, this thing is very, very powerful. Probably the best one in the entire game, to be completely frank. If you look at the individual level boss speedruns, the formula is the same 100% of the time. It is Suppression Exospine, and it is Eagle Eye Exospine. So the Suppression Exospine, what it does is shield penetration increases by 18%. By itself is okay. It's not bad. But then, downed duration of enemies increases. Now, there are some abilities, or like the Shock Grenade, for example, that downs enemies. This keeps enemies down longer, which means the third perk gets even better. The third and final perk is damage to downed enemies increases by 18%. So, if an enemy has shields, you're now penetrating 18% extra, and then you're dealing even more damage to them, just general damage to them, by 18% when they're down, and they stay down even longer. So think about this. If you use a grenade, and then you start shooting up an enemy on the floor with a shotgun, and you're wearing the Eagle Eye Exospine, you're dealing so much damage, you're going to be obliterating everything. That is the single fastest way. If you look at the boss individual level speedruns, the single fastest way to kill bosses is Suppression Eagle Eye, combined with every double-edged gear, which we're going to talk about soon. We're going to get to the gears next. But by increasing your damage using double-edged gears and wearing this to keep bosses down longer, All you gotta do is pop a grenade and shoot them. That's the entire strategy, and it's really, really effective. The Mark II version makes everything a little bit better. So we go from 18 to 24%. It increases the duration, how long they're down, and it increases the damage when they are down from 18 to 27%. So buffs all around, very good. Suppression, Eagle Eye, the strongest combo possible for individual level boss speedruns. Now, in a typical speedrun, like a new game speedrun, if you're doing a new game normal speedrun, or actually also if you're doing new game hard speedruns, the fastest should be Beta Trance, Suppression. Those two together would be the strongest. Because Beta Trance, if you're spamming Crosswave, that also downs. So when you have Crosswave upgraded, it downs enemies. Suppression keeps them down longer. Very powerful together. Super, super strong. And not to mention your Crosswaves that get buffed. Like when you're doing Crosswaves from Beta Trance, they don't cost you energy. While the enemy is down, they're taking more damage. So your Crosswave is dealing even more damage. It's really good. But if you are on New Game Plus, if you're not doing New Game, if you're doing New Game Plus speedruns, you would use Suppression and Eagle Eye. Just those two. You don't need Beta Trance anymore. Because on New Game Plus, the difference is that you just have so much more damage from having a fully maxed out gear set that you don't need Beta Trance anymore. You would just use Eagle Eye and Suppression, just like you would in boss individual level speedruns. So Suppression is a really good one, as well as just, I think even casually, like even, okay, so here's the thing. You know, these Exospines, they all have applications in speedrunning, in, you know, like trying to get fast boss challenge times, and then they have applications in casual speedruns. Now, for example, in casual play, I think protection and recovery are some of the best. They might be the very best in the game. Similarly, in casual play, you know, I think that the impact is one of the best because it's so cool. The effects on screen, the unstable energy is it's super cool. But this is not useful in a speedrun, so it depends on what you're doing. As well as, like, for example, I love Burst Trance. I love this thing. I think it's incredible in casual play. And while I use it in speedruns, it's not really recommended if you're going for the fastest time. It's just my style. It's what I like doing. It's how I enjoy the game. But Beta Trance is objectively faster. So as far as like competitively, like from a speedrunning standpoint, the three best would be Beta Trance, Eagle Eye, and Suppression. Those would be the three best ones. Objectively, from a speedrunning perspective. From a casual perspective, in my opinion, you have Burst Trance, which is super fun to use. You have Impact, which is super fun to use with the unstable energy. From a learning perspective, you've got Protection Recovery, very good, super, super good. And like, for example, I wouldn't put Suppression as a fun one to use in a casual playthrough because its effects are not really noticed that much. You know, like just shield penetration, you're not going to notice that. It's not crazy lightning arcs from Impact. You know, it's not like, oh wow, I'm recovering so much more energy. Wait, sorry. It's not like Burst Trance, like, oh wow, I'm recovering so much more energy. This is awesome. That to me, it's not really an exciting one for chain or like casual, but it's super good otherwise. Like, I probably still would recommend it in casual playthroughs just because keeping enemies down longer, that could help you as well. You know, if you know a boss pretty well, but you're struggling a little bit, keeping them down for a little bit longer might help you in some cases. So that second perk is quite legit. Quite legit. Sometimes, if not all times, I miss your single cross-save to downed enemies. On bosses? That's interesting. I mean, if you're locked on, you shouldn't really have... It should auto-lock on. But yeah, that is all of the Exospines. I think the only really bad ones are... Reflex type is not even worth mentioning. That's like obviously at the bottom. But like as far as the ones that are worth mentioning, I think that probably the lesser ones would be like Grenadier is not very good. And probably Camouflage has such specific applications, but it's definitely better than Grenadier in my opinion. So like in my opinion, I would go like Grenadier at the bottom, just like generally speaking. I would go Grenadier at the bottom, then Camouflage, because like you could at least use this. You could legitimately just use the Camouflage Exospine when you're exploring the open world areas. And then after that, I would probably say Judgment type after that. I would say Judgment after that, I think. And then after, I would put the defensive ones, I'd put Recovery and Protection. And then after, if I'm judging them trying to be objective, I would go like chain type, and then after chain type, I would go burst, and then I would go eagle eye, and then I would go beta trance, and then I would go suppression. Or no, actually, flip the last two. I would probably go, sorry, start over from, I would go chain type, burst trance, then I would go suppression. Yeah, suppression, and then beta trance, and then eagle eye. I think something like that. Yeah. I think eagle eye deserves to be at the top because it's always good. And the guns are just naturally so powerful that like buffing them is going to be good in every playthrough. Not to mention this has a perfect application in every single playthrough. Anytime you're going through Abyss or Altesse, either Lavoir, you're going to be wearing this. So you're going to know about the Eagle Eye Exospine. It's funny because I often forgot to do that. I often forgot to switch to Eagle Eye. I want to say like during my first speedruns, I think I forgot to do that. But then even just like, even in casual playthroughs, sometimes I would forget to wear this. I wish beta trance was more controlled. Sometimes I'll get it when the boss is down, which is nice, and other times I get it at the worst time. Oh yeah, like the actual trance state? Yeah. It's completely random. Because hitbox is smaller when enemy is down. Ah, I know what you mean. Yeah, actually, I can see what you mean, single player enthusiast. Because yeah, when they're down, especially some of the smaller bosses, I could see how that's possible. Anyway, I might readjust my tier list on this. In fact, I might do 2 tier lists. Because I was talking about it earlier, like, you know, casual versus speedrunning. They have different applications. The only obvious worst one is reflex. Just don't use this. That's my strong recommendation. Just if you learn anything, don't use this. If you're struggling with a boss, use protection, use recovery. Those two together, really, really good. Great exospines. Great, really well designed. Protection type exospine, well designed. Recovery type exospine, well designed. Reflex type exospine, bad design. Really bad design. Horrible design. The worst design. It doesn't make the gameplay more interesting. All it does is create a larger window, which creates bad habits, which is just, I feel like all this would do is make someone like the game less. You would appreciate the game less and not enjoy how good the combat is. That's all it would do. Yeah, so these two, good design, bad design. Good design, bad design. Moving on. Let's talk about the gears now, shall we? I'm going to make a new timestamp because this is going to be another long section. 2 hours. Gears. Alright. We're going to do alphabetical order. Now, this seems like a lot. However, since every single gear has 6 copies of the same thing, it's actually not going to take too long to talk about all of these because, you know, we got all the Mark IIs and all the 1, 2, 3 stars. So we really just got to talk about, like, I don't know, like 15 gears or something. There's under 20 for sure. Under 20. Alphabetical order. Number 1, the beta charge gear. The beta charge gear. Now, if you get the level 1, the 1-star version, bonus beta energy recharge 6%. Okay. Doesn't seem like that much, right? And it's not. But early on in the game, if you've got nothing else, you know, and you want to charge more beta skills, it's okay. It's not bad. Now, the 2-star is 8% and the 3-star is 10%. At 10%, that's pretty good. But as you can see, they don't really buff it that much because beta is so strong just in and of itself. It's already really fast to recharge energy, even without this on. It's already very fast to recharge energy. And why is that? Because any attack that connects and any parry recovers some energy. Unlike charging burst, for example, you have to do a beta chain or you got to dodge something. And as a result, you know, you're always attacking, so you're always charging beta a little bit. And that's why these aren't that powerful. We're going to see later, like the burst ones charge a lot more. Once you get to the Mark II, even look at how telling that is. The Mark II, 1-star, 9%, 2-star, 11%, 3-star, 13%. That's not very much. We went up 3% from the best Mark I to the best Mark II. Only 3%. On some of these other gears, the differences from Mark I to Mark II is crazy because it's on kind of lesser abilities that are not that strong. Beta energy is already inherently very strong. You charge it so frequently, so constantly, because you're always attacking. So they didn't have to make this too good. So it's not bad, but I would just put on the beta trans exospine and call it a day and not really wear these. Because there's more fun stuff we can wear. So I would say this one is okay. Early game, though, it's not bad because, you know, if you don't have anything else going on early game, it's not bad to wear. Next, we have the beta enhancement gear. So this one says beta skill attack power plus 8%. That's the 3-star. Look, it's so funny how the beta stuff is so strong. It's so clear, and they knew about it, how strong it was because of how incremental and small the increases are, the buffs on the gears. So the 1-star version gives you 4.5% extra beta skill attack power. 2-star is 6.5%, and then 3-star is 8%. Not much. Once you get to the Mark 2s, we get 7, 10, and 12%. So 8% to 12% from the best Mark 1 to Mark 2. Again, not very big buffs. But that's because the stuff is already strong and you can use it frequently. To be honest, I never really played with this one. To be completely honest, never really played with this. I feel like the beta skills are already very powerful on their own. And the reason that a lot of these gears really don't get much space to shine is because we're going to get to the double-edged gear soon, which is just far and away the best gear in the whole game. And I wish these were buffed more. I wish there was more reward to using such a specific, particular gear that just does one little thing, you know? I wish that they did more because, like, why would you ever use this when you have things that it buff your damage overall as a whole, everything? So I would say the beta charge is better than the beta enhancement. And for one simple reason in that, you know, there are upgrades to how much beta energy you can have. If you pick up the beta cores, you know, being able to charge more and fill that up higher, I think is better than just increasing the attack power by a little bit, because the attack power increase is so small that at least with the beta charge, you know, if you are either low, like if you're low on energy, this helps you get back to that 1 to do, you need 1 beta to do a beta chain. You need 2 beta to do a beta skill, and this gets you up there faster. So like it is, I think, helpful to get up to that first activation than making that activation stronger. I'd rather have an activation sooner that's a little bit weaker than not have an activation. And the charge versus the attack power increase makes that difference. So beta enhancement, very whatever. I would put the beta charge above it for sure. Then we've got beta recovery. Now this is a weird one because it's you charge based on damage taken. I've never played with this either. It's such a situational thing. It's such a very situational thing that, you know, like to take damage, like if you're accidentally taking damage and then you're randomly charging beta, I can see that being okay. However, you know, if I were taking damage randomly on an enemy, I would personally want more longevity. I'd want something that gives me more health or like gives me damage reduction or something. And then this wouldn't be very good. So how do these work? It says beta energy recharge proportional to damage taken 2, and then 3, and then 4. So it says recharges beta energy per 1% of HP lost when taking a hit. Once we get to the Mark 2s, it barely changes. I mean, look at this. The difference is 0.5. I wonder how good this is. Let's test it out. Let's put on the best one. I have 4.5, you know, recharge. This is the Mark 2 3-star. So if I take damage, I will recharge some beta energy. And in boss challenge, we start with 0 beta. So let's see how much it actually charges. Let me zoom out there. Wow, that is not much, eh? I took 2 hits to charge half of a square. Yeah, it doesn't seem that powerful. Now, I suppose... Here's the thing. I suppose if you stack 4 of them, then you'd be charging some energy. But if you're at that point in the game, like if you're at the point where you have all of them, you've probably learned, you know, you're probably learning how to avoid taking damage, right? And then this is just worse. So I don't really know about this one. I mean, the design is kind of weird in my opinion, because it's like rewarding you for taking damage, which you don't want to be doing. It's interesting. It doesn't charge that much either. I feel like this should be buffed, because if you're going to risk your life by taking damage, just charge a bunch of energy, you know? I feel like it should charge way more. Like I want that. I want to take 2 hits and charge 1 square per hit or something. I mean, I took 2 hits to charge half a square. At least 2 hits to charge 1 square. Of course, it depends on the boss too. Like, Abaddon doesn't hit that hard. So on later bosses, probably this would charge faster. But yeah, just as a quick example, this has got to be, in my opinion, worse than beta enhancement. And I think beta charge is still the best out of these first 3 gears. That's beta recovery. You take some damage, recharge. Okay, then we get into burst charge. Now, already, automatically, let me zoom back in. Look at the difference. Look at the difference, how they tuned these. Bonus, this is the 1-star version, Mark 1. Bonus burst energy recharge, 16%? 16? Of course, burst energy, all the abilities require a lot more burst, so it makes sense. You know, it makes sense because if these were the same numbers as beta charge, which as you can see, 6% for the 1-star, Mark 1, you would be getting nowhere really quickly. So it charges 16%. The 2-star, 22%. The 3-star, 27%. That's pretty good. And when you combine it with some of the other abilities that increase your charge more, you can also stack these, by the way. If you wanted to, you could put on all 3 of these. You could put on the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and then you would be charging a lot. Let me show you what that looks like. So we go to burst charge 2-star. I'm going to put on all the Mark 1s. Put all 3 on, and then we go to our stats. We can see that our stats say bonus burst energy recharge 65%. So there's that. That's from wearing all of them. It would be cool if we could self-damage and gain abilities for this. Like the Blaster Cell is canonically harming Eve, so you could do that. I would love something like that, actually, Tezel. I remember thinking, like, it'd be so cool if we just had a way to deal damage to ourselves, because we're gonna get to it later, but there's like the there's the risk-taking gear, which is like a red tearstone ring, basically. If we could set up our damage, like set up our health anywhere for any reason, like if we could just Yoshimitsu stab ourselves, like that'd be super cool. But we can't do that. We can't do that. There's something like that in Sekiro as well, where you just deal damage to yourself. But we don't have that ability. Let me take all these off. Alright, so those are the Mark 1s. Once we get to Mark 2, we have 24% for the 1-star, 33% for the 2-star, and 41% for the 3-star. That's so much. 41%, that's crazy. Look at the difference. It's more than... It's almost triple. If we go to the 3-star Mark 2, it's 13% on beta. Amazing. They had to balance it this way because, you know, you're not charging burst as frequently. Really, in a casual playthrough, if you're not dodging a lot, how would you recharge burst most of the time? Maybe, let's say you're not using beta chains. You would only be recharging burst whenever you do a blink or a pulse. Those 2 abilities do recharge a lot. And this would increase how much it charges even more. So then when you do a blink, you'd be getting like, I mean, tons of charge. You'd have enough to do like 2 abilities. That's quite good. Almost 2, if not 2. This is a good one. I personally liked wearing this one in casual playthroughs just to have a little bit more burst, because I like playing with burst a lot, and so I like having more recharge. Then we have burst enhancement. Now, similarly, I don't think this is very good, just because I would rather have an ability to execute. Like, I'd rather have an ability on deck ready to use, so with more recharge would help that, instead of abilities less often to use, but they're a little stronger. Personally, I feel like frequency beats out on potency 100% of the time, so I don't think that the enhancement is very good, but as you can see, the buffs are not bad. For the 1-star, we have 14%, 2-star 19%, 3-star 23.5%. Okay, those are okay. Not bad. Mark 2, 21%, not 29%, 35%. That's quite a lot. Look at the gap. From the 3-star Mark 1, 23.5 to the 3-star Mark 2, 35%. I mean, 11.5%, that's crazy. Compared to, just look at the contrast. We go to the beta enhancement. 8%, 12%. Wow. An extra 33%, essentially. And that extra 4%. Crazy. So that's burst enhancement. My feelings are the same. Charge versus enhancement, I would rather have the charge. And then we have burst expansion. Now, this one's slightly more viable, I think. Just because the enhancement... Wait, where's my burst enhancement? Oh, wait, sorry, where's my burst expansion? Here we go. Where's burst expansion 1-star? Why is that not here? What the heck? This is boss challenge, maximum new game plus preset. And the burst expansion 1-stars are not here. Has that always been the case? Maybe it has. I don't know. Well, whatever. So all we have to judge is this. We have 2-star max burst energy plus 200, and then 3-star max burst energy plus 400, and then the Mark II plus 400 plus 600. Now, these are kind of okay. I don't think these are as bad as like for beta. In fact, beta doesn't even have one. Why? Because in the game, you can pick up beta cores to increase your max beta energy. there's no such thing as a burst core. There's no way to upgrade it besides stuff like this. So the burst expansion at least has that application. It's unique. Versus, you know, beta, you can't do that because you just pick them up. They're just upgrades naturally that you pick up. You can pick up health upgrades and beta upgrades. So yeah, I think this is okay, but probably not very good for the same reasons that I would rather just be spending my energy. So like just how I'd rather be charging it faster with burst charge instead of enhancing the damage. I'd rather just be charging more and just be spending my burst energy instead of having more capacity. Plus, if you want more capacity, just use the Exospine. The Burst Trance Exospine is very good and has more benefits. Then we have Burst Recovery. Now this is exactly like the Beta Recovery one. You take damage, you get some burst back. Similar numbers. In fact, the numbers are the same, except for the Mark II. So it goes 2, 3, 4, and then 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, compared to Beta. Beta goes 2, 3, 4, that's the same. And then 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. So it doesn't jump up to 5.5, but as you can see, the exact same thing where you get rewarded for taking damage. I think that's kind of a weird design, and it's not much recovery that you're getting. I don't think it's really worth using this. I would say just the general charge ones are better. However, I believe these would stack. So if you do, let's test it right now. Actually, let's test it right now. Let's say we wear beta charge. Let's make this as good as possible. Let's wear beta charge. In fact, let's do the Mark IIs. Beta charge Mark II 3-star, Mark II 2-star, put on beta trance Exospine, and then I'm gonna wear the beta recovery gear right here. That gives me 4.5 damage taken. You know, you recharge beta energy per 1% of HP lost when taking a hit. Now, this should charge extra because I have beta charge things on. So I think this works. Let's see. Last time we took 2 hits and charged half of a square. Very marginally increased how much it charged. I took 2 hits and recharged 3/4 of a square. So, again, pretty minimalistic, even with these buffs. Pretty minimal impact. Hello, Vanilla. Thank you for tuning in. Am I going to buy the PC version? Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. Hello, Life is overrated. Good to see you, man. Thank you for tuning in. For anyone else just tuning in, we're in kind of like the middle of our discussion. Earlier, we talked about the entire gun skill tree, and then I talked about all the Exospines. Now we're on the gears. So we're in the second half of the stream. We're going to be finishing up once I'm done with the gears. But yeah, let's get back to it. Take all this off. Okay, so where were we? We were on Burst Recovery. Okay, that's Burst Recovery. By the way, if you're a real OG, if you've been here since the very beginning, you might remember that I did a video like this during the demo. I talked about all of the gears, and there were only 3 Exospines, but I talked about all the gears, and I talked about everything about them. But that was a long time ago. There was no face cam, worse quality, you know, much worse quality actually, because I was capturing directly from PS5. I have a capture card now, worse microphone, a lot of things that I've upgraded since then. So not to mention, we have all the gears available. In the demo, there were only some. But let's zoom back in. So I thought it was worth doing this again. And if you like these kinds of long discussions, I did do an entire podcast, like a whole stream talking about the entire skill tree. And that is under my live tab. It's still there. I'm just going to leave it public because I feel like it's a good one to leave public. But I talk about the whole skill tree, everything. All the combos, literally so much stuff in depth. Okay, moving on. So we talked about the burst recovery gear. After that, we have the combat continuation gear. This is such an interesting one. I think this is actually a really cool design. Here's the 1-star version. Upon enemy's defeat, attack power plus 6%, duration 10 seconds. So you get a little bit stronger right after killing an enemy. Pretty much just good against mobs of enemies. So if you're out and about in the wasteland, in the Great Desert, or like on 809, for example, where there's mobs, this can be decent. You can buff your damage kind of a lot. Especially the Mark II. Like if we go to the Mark II, we can see, first of all, Mark 1-star, 6%. Then it goes 8.5%, and then 10%. The Mark IIs, still only 10% duration, but that's okay. That's like a decent duration. 9% for the 1-star, 13%, then 15%. Now, it's important to note the attack power, like your attack power is just your general damage, which means it would buff everything, including like your burst abilities or your beta abilities. And so if you just kill an enemy and then bam, pop this, now you're dealing even more damage when you do like your Tempest or your Punishing Edge or whatever. So it's a pretty cool design. To be honest though, I've never played with this. I do believe that similar to the Camouflage Exospine, where after an assassination, whether you assault kill or ambush kill, Eve kind of glows red to let you know that you have that damage buff from the... Here, let me pull it up again. Here's Camouflage. It buffs your damage right after a successful execution. Eve glows red. I'm pretty sure this one you also glow red. I'm pretty sure it's the same kind of design. So combat continuation, I think, could have decent applications against mobs of enemies. If you wanted to play with something kind of unusual, kind of quirky, kind of fun, there's this. And then similarly, instead of a damage buff, you can recover some HP. So similar design, we have the combat supply gear. The 1-star recovers upon an enemy's defeat, recovers 90 HP. Now, that is not really that much, if you think about it. Here is, again, this is New Game Plus maximum preset. Our health is at 6,500. 6,500 health is the max health bar. Now, if I were not maxed out, it'd be like 3,000 or something. But the point is, even so, this is just not healing that much. You'd have to kill a lot of enemies for this to really heal you. Now, if you get to the 3-star, you're killing 160, still not that much. The Mark IIs, we got 140, 200, 240. That's still like, this is okay. I think that if you have the Mark II versions, this could be decently useful. However, you know what would be even more efficient? Instead of taking extra damage, like here's the thing. If I wanted to increase my longevity, you know what I would do? I would wear Protection Exospine and Recovery. I'd wear Protection, Recovery. Those two Exospines, I think would be better than this. But I like the design idea. I really like the idea of this. Same thing with combat continuation. I like that it's rewarding you for being aggressive in a way. I think that is cool. I just don't think it's very useful because it's not healing you too much. Grinding runes, nice. I use 3 speed, all Mark II, then beta charge Mark II. This is the way. Hello, Evans. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, with the speed gears, there is a cap on it. So if you're increasing your speed by more than 30%, and then go into overdrive, you now have excessive speed where you're not getting any benefit. So if you do want to be at the max speed, all you got to do is get maxed out overdrive, which takes you to 30% extra, and then put on 2 things that add up to at least 30%, and then you'd be at the max. Anything over that, though, there would be no benefit. So keep that in mind. Overdrive does increase your speed by 30%. But yeah, I did like playing with the speed gears as well during the demo. Well, that was mostly what I played around with, was just the speed gears. I don't really use the speed gears anymore, though, because I mostly, if I'm playing through the game, I'm speedrunning the game, or I'm doing like a challenge run where I don't even have the gears, or I'm just like doing a like a speedrun or challenge run, so then it doesn't, it doesn't apply. But in casual playthroughs, I do like the speed gears. I think they are fun to play with. So after the combat supply gear, we have combo attack enhancement gear. Now, this is one of my favorites. I love this one. I think the damage is legit. I think this is very legitimately good. Now, combo attack enhancement gear, the level 1, sorry, the 1-star, increases combo attack power level 2 or higher by 14%. For the 2-star, it's 20%. 3-star, 24%. Not bad. The Mark II, though, gets really good. 1-star, 21%. 2-star, 30%. And then 3-star, 36%. That's a nice chunk of damage. Now, combo attack power level 2 or higher, what does that mean? That just means any of these combos here that have a 2 in the name, Incursion 2, 3, 4, Onslaught 2, 3, 4, those all get buffed. But that's not it. As well as, under the Survival tab, if you look at these, Counter 2, Counter Chain 2, it says the last clause is, this is a combo attack skill. So these get buffed. If you didn't know that, these gears that I'm talking about, the combo attack enhancement, buffs Counter 2 and Counter Chain 2, as well as Reflection 2 and Chain Reflection 2. So buffing these is quite nice. Another one that it buffs is it buffs Rush Chain 2. So this one also would get a buff because it is a combo attack skill. So all these things get buffed, which is quite nice. Especially, dude, if you have this stuff on and you do Counter Chain 2, that's quite a nice chunk of damage because Counter 2 already by itself, it temporarily increases melee attack power, and then you do this right after, you're doing a good chunk of damage because this attack would get buffed as well by the combo attack enhancement gear. So I'm a fan of this one. I also played with it a lot during the demo. I always pick it up in my playthroughs just because it's the 1-star is one of the first ones you get. And then I like to use the 3-star as well sometimes if I feel like it, because you pick it up from UN. It's a boss drop, so it's quite nice. It's in your way. But yeah, these guys are quite nice. And the Mark IIs are just much better. So good percentages, good damage. Then we have the crit boost gear. So crit boost gear, crit rate plus 4.5%. Okay, that's the 1-star. Then it goes to 6.5%. Not bad. 8%, that's okay, actually. I think it's like a very reasonable amount. But, you know, they can't make it too good because crits can deal a lot of damage. So the Mark II gives you 7%, then 10%, then 12%. Now, if you wanted to put as much on as possible, how much could you get? You'd do 12%, 10%, 8%, and then I guess 7%. So that'd be the most possible that you could do. So that would be 22, 29. So you'd be at 37. If you put on all of them, you'd be at 30% extra. Combined with, if you combine that with the chain type Exospine Mark II, that one buffs your combo attacks level 4 or higher by 45%, your crit rate. So now you're like really close to 100%. And then if you also wear the impact, now you're actually at 100%. So let's do that. Let's see, because this increases 14%. Let's do that right now. Let's go chain type Mark II, all this. Let's put on crit rate over here. In case you've never seen this, let's just mess around. Crit boost, 12. Okay, crit boost. By the way, you could favorite these if I wanted to. I could just favorite them. In fact, I should do that. Because I gotta go back one more time, so I'll put this one, favorite it, put that on. Okay, so now we have, as you can see, 12%, 10%, 7%, 8%. This one buffs just my crits, attack, like combos level 4 or higher, 45%. This one increases crit rates in general, 14%. Then if we look at our stats, as you can see, bonus combo, oh, that's combo attack power. Hang on a sec, what? Did I put the wrong thing on? Oh, that's my chain type doing that. Okay, just kidding. So my crit rate is 56%. 56%. But then also, bonus a combo attack crit rate level 4 or higher, 45%. So combined, that's 99%, right? So let's do some combos for 4 or higher, and we should get a crit. I mean, if we don't get a crit, that means we got that 1% unlucky, right? That'd be kind of crazy. Let's just do the blink. Look at all those crits. That's awesome, right? That's so cool. There was so much lightning because of the impact Exospine. So if you're trying to do crits, you can do a lot of crits. The game, you can set it up that way. Now, that is pretty cool for the lightning effects. But as far as just consistent DPS, I would, you know, the stuff I talked about earlier, I would still say is the best damage you can do. But that is the crit rate gear. Let's go back down there and continue. That's the crit boost gear. After the crit boost gears, we have crit enhancements. Now, this just increases the damage. Personally, I would much rather have higher crit rate because the damage from a critical hit is already pretty good. And so increasing the damage, but then not having them as frequently, I don't feel like it's as powerful. But still, they are available. So you can, with a 1-star, you have 9% extra crit damage, 2-star 13%, 3-star 15.5%, not much increase there. And then for the Mark IIs, we have 13.5%, 19.5%, pretty good, 23.5%, actually pretty decent. Like if you want to just if you want to just throw one of these on there, I guess that's okay. But you know, I like to make the builds very focused, generally speaking. So if you want the most damage, what you really want to do is just wear double edge gears, which is what we're coming up to next. But yeah, if you want to just increase the crit damage, not the frequency, just the damage, you could wear these. I think they're definitely worse than crit boost, but I mean, there's worse stuff you could put on. Like I think these are still better than, for example, the beta and burst recovery, where you take damage to recover energy. I think this is still better than that, but doesn't mean it's very good. And then we have the double edge gears. This is far and away the strongest thing in the entire game. By far, it's not even close. Attack power plus 15% for the 1-star. That's already pretty good. This thing it's so powerful that even with the damage taken downside, it's like it barely matters. If you have a big health bar and you have if you can tank some hits, if you actually, in fact, legitimately, I think this would still be good even playing casually. Let's say you don't know all the bosses. Let's say you haven't practiced all the bosses. You haven't played the game for over 600 hours like me, and you're still like maybe getting hit on some stuff, right? Kind of frequently. You might think, this is the downside is too much. Trust me, it's still good. Even if you wear this, if you just put on the protection exospine and recovery exospine, you still have so much survivability that the damage boost is just ridiculous. If you look at boss challenge, individual level speedruns, the setup is literally just all double edge gears. That's it. It's that simple. It's just all double edge gears, as much as damage as you can stack on. So you would wear all of these and then the 3-star Mark 1. Because the Mark 2 1-star is only 23%. So you would do 1, 2. Oh no, you would wear, oh yeah, okay. So you'd wear all the Mark 2s and then the 3-star Mark 1. That'd be the setup. And then specifically for boss challenge individual levels, you would wear suppression, eagle eye. Those 2 exospines, that's what you would wear. That'd be the most possible damage. And if you're doing New Game Plus speedruns, you would do the same thing. You'd wear all these. You'd wear all double edge gears. Let's go back down here. Okay. You'd wear all of these in New Game Plus speedruns, all of them, and then the 3-star. All that, you'd wear, actually the same thing, suppression and eagle eye. The setup does not change. And then in general speedruns, you know, we always buy this from Kaya. Whoops. The level 1... Sorry, I keep accidentally bumping out of the menu. Let me put my controller on my desk. The Mark 1, 1-star, double-edged gear, we always buy this from Kaya in a speedrun. It costs only 2 Vitcoins, which is very easy to pick up on your way through 807. And the damage is very good. 15%, that's enough to... We wear this the whole game. The 2-star you pick up from Behemoth. The 3-star you pick up from... Wait, where do you get this from? Oh, I actually forgot. Where do you get this from? One of them is from Behemoth. Hold on, I'm actually curious now because I cannot remember for the life of me. Alright, hang on. Double edge gear. I want to mention where you pick it up. Double edge gear. 3-star. Alright, let's go to game8.co. Pretty handy website. Grade 3 location. Oh, Corruptor, that's right. You get it from Corruptor 3. Okay, I forgot about him. I don't go to 809 that often. So, to recap. 1-star you pick up from Kaya. 2-star you get from beating Behemoth, the optional boss. 3-star you get from beating Corruptor 3, the other optional boss in 809. So those are your double-edged gears, and these things are so powerful. So in a typical speedrun, you know, you're just picking up the 1-star, but like it carries you through the whole game. It makes your guns combined with Eagle Eye so strong. You're so powerful. The damage taken debuff barely matters. And if you want to cancel it out, just wear like Protection Exospine. You're good. Extremely good. Far and away, literally, I'm not even exaggerating. This is far and away the best gear in the entire game. It is so powerful. If you're looking just for damage, it's so powerful. It's so good. Like, just, it's awesome. But it's almost too awesome. Now, I think I'm going to talk about a couple different gears. I was going to go in alphabetical order, but actually I feel like right after this, I should talk about some other important ones. Hello, Dodgy2 Kim. Thank you for tuning in. Still play this game. Boss challenges are great. Raven is your favorite. Game's amazing. Still replayable. I've replayed it like 40 times. Can't really go wrong playing this game. Any game that's not too long, so it's replayable. I love those kinds of games. It's not too long, and the combat is very satisfying. Not to mention insane music. It's just infinitely replayable. I could replay this game until, like, I get arthritis in both hands. So, here's the thing with double-edged gear. It's so good, it's almost too good where it takes away from some of the other interesting, not exospines, but the interesting gears in this game. Most namely, the risk-taking gear. Wait, where is it? I forgot my alphabet. Okay. Okay, most namely the risk-taking gear. Now this thing, if you play Dark Souls, it's kind of like a red tier stone ring. It's really similar. Attack power when low, HP, and then you get a damage boost. So plus 9% damage boost when you have low HP. Now the game makes it very clear. As soon as Eve's health bar turns red, that's how you know you're in, like, it's activated. As long as your health bar is red, you're low enough. You don't got to be at like 5% health. You can be like at 15% or lower, something like that, roughly. I don't know the exact numbers. But it's just got to be low enough to where it's red. Then you get a damage boost. Now, I did a video on the risk-taking gear back during the demo, talking about setups for Stalker. It was called like, I called it like an expert, like advanced level. I did 2 boss tutorials. I did Stalker tutorials for like an easy version and then like a more advanced version, showing different strategies. And like the easy version was just showing like, hey, you don't have to parry anything. If you don't want to parry anything, you can just not parry a single thing and still beat the boss, just block. And then the other one was like, here's how you set up your health to get to low health to get a boost from risk-taking gear. And basically, with Stalker in particular, you know, most every boss you can kind of manipulate their strings a little bit based on your distance, but Stalker is like very easy to manipulate, where if you're like a certain distance, he most often will rely on 2 strings, both red strings, and they will both put you to low enough HP where it triggers risk-taking gear, and then you can just fight with the damage buff. So I wish this was better. I really wish this was better. In my opinion, it's much riskier playing with low health than playing with, you know, a full health bar and just like, oh, if you get hit, you take more damage, which is what the double-edged gear is. So I think that these numbers should be way higher, like way, way higher. Even the Mark II, like look at this. Here's the Mark 1 star, 9%, 2 star, 12%, 3 star, 14%, like that's it. And then Mark II, 13.5, 18, 21%. That's as good as it gets, 21%. Not much reward. It's just, it's strictly better to simply use the double-edged gear, which is kind of a shame. I wish this was more, like I would love to play with this more, but the thing is, since it's not as good as double-edged gear, why would you? Besides just like for fun, besides just to learn the setups, like the damage setups, it's just not, the reward is not enough. And if you think about it, like when you're low HP, if you're 1 hit from death, that's way riskier in my opinion than taking a hit with like higher damage taken, like if you're wearing double-edged, because you can just heal. So I wish these were a lot better. I thought they were fun to play with during the demo, but then in the full game we got double-edged gear, which made these kind of redundant, which is unfortunate. I want these to get buffed in the next game. It'd make me so happy if these got rebalanced, because I think the risk is so much higher here, you know? It's the risk-taking gear. It's got to be better, you know? And then the other one that double-edge affects is the perfect combat gear. Very similar, just the opposite. Attack power when high HP, plus 7%. And then we have 9.5%, 11.5%. And then the Mark II is 11%, 14%, 17%. Now, to be fair, I think these are fine because there is no risk. All you gotta do is be at high health. And high HP just means like, it's like 80% or above. It's around there. You are getting the damage buff. You don't gotta be at max health. It's just high HP. Once we get a PC version, I'm sure it'll be very easy to see the exact numbers, the exact values. But yeah, as long as you're like 80% or higher, you're getting the buff from this. And of course, this is safer than double-edged gear because you're not taking extra damage. And all you gotta do, like, the thing is too, it's much harder to reset your health bar to have it low. Like if you were using risk-taking gear and you set up and then you're low health, it's like, okay, cool, I got my damage buff. And then if you get hit, you die. But if you get hit while wearing perfect combat gear, you can just spend a potion, spend a tumbler, get back up to high health, and then you have your damage buff back. So I think these are balanced fine. But, you know, double-edged gear is still just way better. So I do use the 3-star one actually regularly because you can pick it up really quickly. The 3-star perfect combat gear you pick up at the beginning of Spire, just before, like, literally, like, right after you... like after the dam. So right after the dam, you know, you go through the caves and then there's like the part where the bridges are falling under your feet right before the hypertube, in that hallway. It's on the left. It's just like in a little hallway down the left. And so I always pick this up because it's right there and it's good damage. 11.5% damage for just being at high health is quite nice. But yeah, unfortunately, these are both overshadowed by double-edged gear. So double-edged gear is king. And then I would say after that, perfect combat gear is not bad. And then risk-taking is quite bad. I think it's quite bad. It's not worth the risk. Although it's very fun to play with because it's like, you know, you have to come up with a creative setup to get your damage. To get, like, on particular bosses, you might want to set up on different attacks. Or like, okay, I know I got to get hit by this particular string twice and then parry the rest, otherwise I'll die. And you can even use double-edged gear. Here's the other thing. It's almost like kind of insulting because the double-edged gear might help you set up for the risk-taking gear easier. Because if you put on, like, if you're taking extra damage, you can get closer, you can get, you know, to that low health threshold faster. But then if you're doing that, just put on more double-edged gears, you know, YOLO, because it's just better. So I wish these were I love playing with them. I just wish that the risk taking was stronger. And I think that perfect combat gear is really, it's okay because there's no risk on that one. I think that one's fine. But both of those, perfect combat and risk taking gear, they're both overshadowed by the double edge gear because they all do kind of the same thing. So there's that. Moving on. Hello, X Mega Juni. Thank you for tuning in again. Going to lurk, enjoying the discussion. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. And thank you everybody else for lurking as well. I do appreciate everybody just lurking and hanging out. If you're watching on your TV, if you're just listening while you're working or doing whatever, or playing a game on your own, thank you for hanging out and being here. I will edit this down into a shorter video eventually, but after the stream is done, I will add timestamps. So if you wanted to listen to specifically like, oh, you want to listen to the drone skill tree discussion, I'll have the drone skill tree discussion timestamped. Like, oh, you want to listen to the Exospines, those will be timestamped. And then, of course, the gears. Let's continue. Okay. Fixed damage gear. Now, this one you pick up very early in the playthrough in 807. I used to put it on just as a second one. Like, for example, if you're doing a new game speedrun and you get lucky on your Omnibolts and you have an extra gear slot. If you get the extra gear slot really early, like before flooded commercial sector, you might just put this on because it's just like, it's just something to put on. Because it's like, it's whatever, it's okay. It gives you a tiny bit extra damage. I did do a test back during the demo, and the damage is so minimal. It's very little. I did actually do a test during my last gear discussion video, which is on my channel. It's so old though, just don't watch that. I'll put the same screenshot and I'll show the difference. But basically I was wearing the double edge gear. Sorry, not double edge. I was wearing the fixed damage gear and I showed like one combo's worth of damage with and without this on. And it was so little. Honestly, this would probably be really easy to figure out how good it actually can be on a PC version where we can see values. So if there's like a mod to just see damage values, you could see in real time how good this is, because actually it's not very good in my opinion. I don't think this is really worth wearing. It's fixed damage. Like, so when you think about how little the damage is, it's like, gosh, I wish we could see what a boss, like Abaddon, for example, I wish we could see what his actual health value is. Because some of these bosses, I feel like they have, I mean, they've got to be in the thousands. And so like a little chunk of tiny extra damage, it's just so minimal, you know? And when I tested it back during the demo, the extra damage was barely noticeable. So not a big fan of this one. But sometimes early game, like early game, it's better than nothing. So that's about where that one sits for me. After that, we have the gold gear. Now this one could have applications. I know we've got some members in the community who love grinding out their gold, like high numbers just for fun, arbitrarily. And hey, this is perfect for that. Or if you, for some reason, needed a bunch of gold for something. The thing is, the gold isn't worth too much in this game. It buys items, it buys ammo. You know, you can buy stuff with it, but like, if you just play the game normally, you naturally end up with a lot of gold. So I never found that I had to grind for any gold at all. But if you were grinding for something particular, you know, we don't know what the future holds, where like maybe this will be useful if they add expensive items, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this could be useful, but if you wanted to increase your gold, I suppose this could have an application. You know, the 3-star gives you double gold. That's good. And the 3-star Mark II gives you 150% more gold. That's nice, if that's your goal. The thing is, this game just doesn't require grinding, so maybe they implemented this into the game thinking, you know, maybe we will have expensive stuff, but everything is pretty inexpensive, so not too much use for it. Then we have melee protection. So this is melee damage reduction 7% for the 1-star, then 10%, then 12%, and then on Mark II, we have 11%, 15%, and 18%. These are okay. I think these are actually not bad. Basically, every boss will hit you with melee damage. Yeah, literally all the bosses will do melee strings on you, and so reducing that can be quite nice. If you stack this, if you want to increase your longevity. In fact, I recommend wearing this. If you've seen, I mentioned it earlier, but in my my boss tutorial, like my how to master any boss tutorial video, my setup is protection gear, recovery gear, or sorry, protection exospine, recovery exospine, and then all melee protection gears. Just all of them. The best ones you have, wear all of them. And that is the best way to sit and learn, and just learn a boss. Just observe, not worry about dying, have the most longevity possible, you know, increase your survivability, and just study a boss. So I like these for that sense. As far as defensive gears go, I think it's probably probably the best one. There are some other ones, but they don't increase as high percentages because they are more general, which we'll get to them very soon. But that's melee protection. I'm a fan of this one. I like this one. Where do you get the 3-star New Game Plus gold gear? This freak, thank you for tuning in, but I actually couldn't tell you off the top of my head. If you go to game8.co, that is, I think, probably the best website for like specific locations on gears. So like I would just go gold gear 3-star Stellar Blade. I would just type that into Google or whatever search engine you like, and then just go to game8.co. And then from there, it'll tell you all of it. But like to answer your question, let's see. Like here's gear locations. Let's go to search, and then I'll just type in the gold gear. So gold gear, 2-star. Where's the 3-star one? Hang on. Oh, it's in order by location. It is located in the Great Desert after you do a puzzle. So it's in the desert. It's tied to a puzzle. But yeah, there are guides on the internet. Okay, moving on. After the melee protection gear, we talked about perfect combat already. Then we have the protection gear. Actually, perfect segue. Perfect segue. Because I was just talking about how, you know, melee protection, it gives you good percentages because it's very specific. For example, 3-star Mark 1, 12%. If we look at the protection gear, 3-star Mark 1, only 8%. Why? Because this one reduces everything. So not only melee, but also, like, projectiles, basically. Any projectile from an enemy, whether it's a mob of enemies or if it's a boss shooting you with something. This, like Corruptor, for example. Corruptor's projectiles, this will reduce the damage by, for the 1-star, 4.5%, then 6.5%, then 8%. And then for the Mark II, 7%, 10%, 12%. So again, not as good percentages because it's more broad. But since projectiles are less, you know, you see less of them than melee attacks, I would recommend just wearing the melee protection gear. I think it's a lot better. Mark II, 3-star, 18%. Compared to Mark II, 3-star, 12%. So I like the melee protection gear. The protection gear itself, I don't really like it that much. Because there's also a ranged protection gear, which we'll get to in a sec. So let's move on. That's the protection gear. Pretty self-explanatory. Reduces all damage from any source. Then we have the ranged enhancement gear. The 1-star says, increases ranged attack power by 4.5%. 2-star, 6.5%. 3-star, 8%. It's okay. You know, by the way, just for reference, when you wear the Eagle Eye Exospine, just wearing it, the Mark 1 version of the Eagle Eye, buffs your guns by 10%. Meanwhile, ranged attack power, only 8% extra for the 3-star version. So that just shows you how powerful the Eagle Eye is. And then even the Mark II version of ranged enhancement is still only giving you the 3-star 12%. Goes 7, 10, 12. So Eagle Eye just blows us out of the water. The one thing that this does increase that Eagle Eye does not would be Crosswave. So Shockwave, Crosswave, that's the only thing that is a ranged attack. But it's not a gun. So, you know, Eagle Eye does not buff that, but this would buff it. So I guess if you wanted to buff specifically or Shockwave, this is technically better than the Eagle Eye Exospine. However, just putting on the Beta Trance Exospine and just like some beta gears would be better, I think. Let's see. If we go to the beta, if we go to beta enhancement, oh, it's not better. 12%. Actually, no, that's as good as, wait, 12% is the same. 12% compared to range enhancement. Mark II 3-star. 12%. It's actually identical. So you may as well wear the beta one if you wanted to increase the damage of your Shockwave. Because, yeah, otherwise, just use the Eagle Eye. It's much nicer. Gives you other buffs, too. And if you want to increase your beta skills in general, you can just use the beta charge one. Or just use Burst Trance. But yeah, that's ranged enhancement. Now, let's say that for some reason, great to speed through both of Wars. Yeah, if you, so that's actually an interesting point to bring up, because one thing I wish this game had was the ability to quickly swap between loadouts. Now, it's a little tedious. They made it better with the favorites, because you can favorite stuff now. They made it better with the favorites. But before favorites, you'd have to go through your entire list of stuff. In my opinion, just wearing the Eagle Eye Exospine is already super, like, that's already a lot of damage for just to get through the Lavoirs. There's not even that many enemies that you have to kill. So, you know, for as far as, like, range, and even like I'm talking even in a new game hard speedrun, just the Eagle Eye is already very good. Eagle Eye with with just like the double edge gear is already tons of damage. But let's say that you don't want to use double edge gear for some reason. This would be okay in a Lavoir scenario if you wanted a little bit more damage. But of course, make sure you got the Eagle Eye on first. Like that's the priority. Wear the Eagle Eye and then stuff like this after to boost. But yeah, it'd be cool like if it was a matter of like one button press or just like, go into a quick menu, here's my loadouts. I could like name it something, or like they could have like general like ranged close combat stealth, I don't know. If you could just at least have a few loadouts and then set them up, it'd be so much easier to switch between all these gears because the list gets so long, especially in New Game Plus once you've picked up Mark IIs. The list gets so long. It's a little bit tedious. Like for me, I personally wouldn't bother changing out gears to put this on just to go through a Lavoir, which takes like 10 minutes anyway. I would just put on Eagle Eye. But it's a good point to bring up though. I really wish that we had set, like we could preset some loadouts and swap between them easier. That'd be really handy because like, if I want to explore out in the open, I might want to wear something different, And if I want to just fight like a particular boss, bam, I put on like my boss loadout. But yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Okay, after the ranged enhancement gear, we have ranged protection. So similar theme here. This has a little bit better percentages than the protection gears because it's specific. So it does not protect you from everything, only from ranged attacks. Now, that can be handy if you're facing like turrets or something. As you can see, the 1-star is 9%, then 12%, then 14% damage reduction, ranged damage reduction. And then for the Mark II, we got 13.5%, 18%, and 21%. That's pretty good. 21% is a lot. It's a fifth of the damage coming at you reduced. That's quite nice. There aren't many scenarios in the game though where like you actually even need this though. I guess there are some turret sections like when you're exploring out and about in the desert or wasteland where it's like, okay, just for that extra survivability, you could wear this. But of course, even before that, I'd rather still just be wearing, I'd rather be wearing protection and recovery, both those exospines. Excellent for survivability. But still, at least this is focused, so it gives you good percentages. There might be like some scenario, like there might be some area where I just can't think of it where this is decent. But for the most part though, since at least for bosses, like I wouldn't recommend this for a boss. Bosses don't have ranged attacks like that. Like they don't attack you with range that hard. It's mostly melee stuff. So then in which case the melee protection gear would just be better. You would just want to wear this instead. But still, if you've got a particular side quest or some random area out in the open where there's a lot of turrets or something, in fact, maybe this would be okay for the section Inspire. It could possibly help you survive some hits from the turrets outside in the outdoor area Inspire. You know what I'm talking about with the fire. This could possibly help there. So there's that. But yeah, that's ranged protection. And then moving on, we have the risk-taking gear, which I already talked about this one, so I'm not going to talk about it again. And then we have shield destruction. Now, this is a great one. I'm a big fan of shield destruction gear. This thing is awesome. First of all, in the speedrun, it's one of the gears that you pick up just naturally because a boss drops it. You pick it up from Corruptor 1. So after you grab this, I basically wear it like the entire game. Like I only change it out for the better versions of it. Right after Juggernaut, once you go down the slide, there's a chest in there, and that has the 2-star, and then the 3-star one is dropped from UN. So it's a boss drop again. So all of them are convenient, and look at how big the percentages are. 1-star, 18% extra damage to shields. 2-star, 26%. 3-star, 32%. That's quite good. Not to mention, these are most powerful. Like these abilities, these gears really shine against bosses that have 3 phases. For example, UN, or what's another 3-phase boss? The boss at the end of Matrix 11. What's another 3-phase boss? There's gotta be like one more, right? Oh, Demo Crawler also has 3 phases. And by that, I mean they have 3 sets of shields. So if a boss has a lot of shields, well, this is gonna be quite nice because it'll just get them down to actual health sooner, so you can deal more damage faster. So yeah, I like wearing these. And then the Mark IIs are badass, like 27% for the 1-star Mark II, 39% for the 2-star, 48% for the 3-star. That's so much. You're just obliterating shields. Not to mention, The shotgun and explosive shells by themselves. The shotgun is so strong, dude. The shotgun by itself is already really good at taking out shields. So when you combine it with shield destruction gear, now you're like, I mean, you're ripping through shields extremely fast. So I'm a fan of this one. I put this one up there. This one's definitely up there as far as like a tier list goes. Love the shield destruction gear. Next we have shield enhancement. Now this is very okay. It does one of the perks that the protection type Exospine does, basically. Now, if you combine this with the protection type Exospine, that's quite nice because protection Exospine will give you an extra shield level. So instead of having only 2 rectangles of shield, you have 3 rectangles of shield. And if you increase your max shield overall, you're essentially spending more time in that third rectangle, that third shield level, which is when you're negating the most damage. So if you wanted a really, really tanky build, you could probably do a mix of these shield enhancement gears with melee protection. That'd probably be the best way to just survive the most. Just for simplicity, I'd probably just wear only melee protection. But like, I mean, the Mark II makes it really worth it because let's look at this. Mark 1 star, 100% extra shield, or not 100%, just 100 extra shield. Which, by the way, your shield, here's what it looks like by default, 500. So the one, like the Mark II 3-star gives you 450. That's almost doubling your shield. That's quite a lot. So we have 500 shields to give you some perspective. And let's go back to the shield enhancement gear. Okay, so this one increases by 100. 200 for the 2-star. 300 for the 3-star. Not bad. And then the Mark IIs get pretty good. 150, 300, 450. 450 is crazy. So if you wanted a very defensive build, you could put on one of these. I'd say that this one especially is worth putting on. Combined with some melee protection gears, that'd probably be that's about as tanky as you can get. Doesn't get tankier than that. So this one's nice. I think it's only really worth wearing if you have the protection type Exospine on as well to give you that extra shield level, because that's when you're going to be just like negating a ton of damage. So combined, they're very nice. On the topic of shields, we have shield penetration gear. Now this one's kind of nice too. Shield penetration plus 9% for the 1-star, then 13%, 16%. And then for the Mark II, we have 14%, 20%, 24%. 24 is a lot. Now, shield penetration, you know, you're either on one end of the fence or the other. Personally, I like shield destruction a little bit more, but this is a similar effect. The thing is, would you rather be dealing more damage to a boss's health than their shields? Here's why it's good sometimes. If a boss only has one set of shields, then I think this is a little bit better. Because if it's a longer boss fight and they only have one phase, for example, like Corruptor 3, for example, just an example. Or what's a better example of a one-phase boss? Like, oh, by the way, Belial is another boss with 3 sets of shields. So when we were talking about shield destruction earlier, I like that one against Belial too. But shield penetration, you know, if you're just trying to get through like one phase of a boss, I guess it's really only good against a Baden. No, Baden has 2 phases too. It's really just good against Corruptor. Oh my goodness, is it just Corruptor? Katakuri is 2. Democrawler is 3. Belial is 3. UN is 3. Oh yeah, UN is another 3-phase boss. The final bosses are 2. Yeah, so that's the thing. The way this works is pretty much when a boss still has their shields up, you can deal more damage to their health bar, not the shields, but the health bar, while their shields are still up. So it's penetrating past the shield. If it's a 2-phase boss, I guess it's not bad. It's so similar though to shield destruction. Because shield destruction has such higher percentages, I prefer using that one. Even though, you know, it gets pretty good here, like 24% on the Mark II 3-star. It's not bad. By the way, this is the first perk on the Suppression Exospine. So if you're just wearing the Suppression Exospine, you're already getting this benefit. But if you wanted more of it, then this can be nice. Actually, this might even be better just against random enemies. There could be some like bigger enemies where, you know, maybe, I don't know, like maybe some of the robots, they might have like a lot of shields. You might just want to penetrate through the shield and kill them faster that way. I don't know. I think this is much more fringe. In my opinion, the shield destruction is a bit stronger than shield penetration because, especially towards the end of the game, there are so many 3-phase bosses where they, they regenerate their shield twice over the course of the fight. Where getting that shield back down to 0, I think is much more beneficial than this. So yeah, there's that. That's shield penetration. And then we have one of my favorites, the speed increase gear. I don't use it much anymore, but especially during the demo, holy hell, I love these. These are so much fun to play with. In the demo, we had access to the 1-star and 2-star Mark 1. So if you put on both of them, you'd be at 22.5% extra damage. Sorry, extra speed. And the benefit of that, of course, is that it makes your combos safer. So as we talked about during the whole combo section of the discussion, this game is like a fighting game in the sense that every single combo, every single attack has startup frames, it has active frames, and it has recovery frames. And you can parry or dodge anywhere during the startup or recovery frames. So if you are able to quicken the time that you spend in the active frames, you're now making your combos safer. You're essentially making everything you do safer. As well as, like, if a boss is following a specific pattern, if like they just did this and you're expecting a different combo right after, well, typically, let's talk about like Onslaught 4. Let's say that normally you can only do the first 4 hits of Onslaught 4. Okay. But now with some speed increase here, as far as like during a boss before they hit you, you can only do the first 4 hits. But now if you put on like 2 speed increase gears, maybe now you're fast enough where you can do actually the 5th hit and you can beta chain it, which would then interrupt them. And now instead of trading with them or instead of, getting hit out of your combo, you're now interrupting them and you finish your combo completely. And that could be very relevant when you think about gears, or like if you think about gears such as the combo attack enhancement gear, the chain type Exospine, for example. That could be really relevant. The chain type Exospine, you get buffs when you do bigger combos, and you have a higher chance to do a crit if you do a level 4 or higher combo, which is just Onslaught 4 or Incursion 4. And those combos are kind of long, so increasing your speed is really nice. Not to mention, it's just fun. It makes everything you do faster. Like, every single animation, like that is an attack animation, it buffs it. And so it's cool because it makes, even like Rush Chain like this also gets buffed. So this comes out faster. All of your beta chains happen faster. Everything is faster. And so it makes all your combos safer. It's a good one. I'm a fan of the attack speed gears, although I don't use them much anymore just because there's not really much use for them in a speed run or in challenge runs. So yeah, but casually though, they are very fun. I like the speed increase gears. I would have these up there. I think they're good. I think they're good. I respect them a lot because of the fun aspect of them. Not to mention the safety aspect. The safety aspect is legit. So again, the 1-star is 10%, 12.5%, 15%. And then the Mark II is 13%, 16%, 18%. Also very much worth noting that there is a cap. There's a cap to your max speed. It's 160%. And if you put all of these on... So if I put all of these on... As you can see here, my speed is now at 160% max. I've gone over it. So there's no benefit to maxing out over 160%. And if you activate overdrive, that gives you an extra 30%. When overdrive is maxed out, you're getting 30% more speed. So if you are going to use overdrive a lot, like I typically do, make sure you do not put on attack speed gears that put you over 130 because you're just going to be wasting some of the speed. You know what I mean? Just beat Renala. Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. Life is overrated. Okay, let's zoom back in. All right, after the speed increase gears, we have the training gears. I believe this is the last one. Okay, so this is the very last gear in the entire game. What does this do? It gives you extra experience. So increases SP experience gained. The 1-star is 10%, 2-star 15%, 3-star 20%, and then for the Mark II, 16%, 23%, 30%. I never used these. I think that people will use this if you're doing all of the trophies, because there is a New Game Plus trophy where you got to max out all your entire skill tree. And so to do that, you might just want to throw this on. Like if you didn't want to play through the entire game again, and you just wanted that one trophy, you could do this to max out your skill tree a little bit faster. And I remember hearing from you guys that there are farming spots Or you can just like go and pop a Tempest real quick in some area with a lot of enemies. And then bam, you just get a bunch of experience, I guess. This can speed that up. In fact, it's funny, I remember a lot of people, I don't know how many actually, but it felt like more than a handful of people were grinding in the demo to max out their skill tree during the demo because your save file would carry over into the full game. So we had some folks, like some of our friends in the Discord were just, they were already maxed out going into the demo, or after the demo, boom, they were ready for day one. It's just like overpowered already. Which is fun. If you want to do that, then you have training gears. But in my opinion, just playing through the game normally, New Game Plus, you know, you end up with so much experience that this isn't really that necessary. But if you were grinding specifically just to get that one trophy to finish off your skill tree, then I would say just wear it, you know? Just why not make it a little bit faster? So I don't like grinding in games. So if you can speed up your grinding, I guess that's pretty good. But that's the only application for it. Besides that, you would never ever use this again. So similar to the gold one, I feel like this goes into that same category of very, very fringe, where once you reach your goal, you're done with it. You don't need this gear anymore. So that's the entire gear list. Wow, we got through that pretty fast. That only took 3 hours. That's not bad. That was a fun discussion. Now, while we're here, I'm not going to talk about cosmetics. It just doesn't matter. If you were curious, though, my favorite hairstyle is I always use the cutest. This is my girlfriend's hairstyle. My girlfriend has the exact same hair. Literally, the exact same bangs and the same curtain bangs. And it's also black. And it's just identical. So I use this one just because it reminds me of her. And then my favorite costumes. The fall costume is one of the best in the entire game. I love this. I could just play this forever. My favorite costume is probably this one, Planet Diving Suit second. I like this one because it reminds me of Taki's outfit. I think that's cool. And then the other ones that I really like, any of the denim ones are really cool. I like the top here. The top here is cool colors, and it reminds me of Photogenic, which I also like. I like these two. Raven Suit's a classic. Planet Diving Suit 6th V2. This appeared in some promotional material, so it's kind of cool because it appears in some promotional screenshots. And then Daily Biker, I love this one. Love Daily Biker, 4 Seconds Biker. These guys, the top is so dope. And then, you know, denim, it looks nice. Daily Denim, also very cool top. 4 Seconds Denim, love these. Punk top has one of the coolest tops with the jacket, in my opinion. I love the top here. Sporty Energy, I really enjoyed using the yellow jumpsuit as well during my first playthrough. But I like these colors better, so I have this one bookmarked. And then I just have, you know, the Nier Automata stuff bookmarked. Those are my favorite costumes, though. Now, I talk about it... Did I talk about it during my wishlist? I think I did talk about it during my wishlist, but if I didn't, I wish they would add the ability to customize tops and bottoms. Like, if I want to wear this top, but with these pants, I want to be able to do that. I think that'd be so much fun. Or like, if I want this jacket, but then I want to wear this jacket over my default costume. You know, like, that'd be cool to do, I think. It'd be fun to mix and match. Or like, I want to wear specifically the punk top, but with like black denim, like black jeans, or like whatever. I think it'd be hype. I don't know how hard it would be for them to implement though, but I think it'd be cool. So those are my favorite costumes. There's way too many costumes to talk about. It's just not worth it. Plus, not to mention that's not really like, it's not really relevant. It's just your favorite and then that's it. Versus with the gears, there's a lot to talk about there, you know? There's lots to talk about with the gears and the Exospines, so I'm glad we got that done. I will do my best to edit that down. I'm going to edit it together with the skill tree. It's going to be a long-ass video, but dude, it's going to be a lot of information. So, there's that. Shift Up was horrified when they saw people were doing that. Grinding in demo because the carryover is mad. Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. But hey, if it's... I mean, I get it. I get the appeal. I'm not a grinder myself, but there's this guy I like watching, Primal Liquid. He does crazy RPG challenges. He'll like... I respect the dedication so much. He'll like grind out the beginning of FF10, getting overpowered in the first area, and then just rolling through the game. Like, that stuff takes forever. Oh my gosh, what was the other one? You can get... Dude, I saw a video of getting maxed out on Destiny Island in Kingdom Hearts 1. Just doing... I think you would just keep fighting Waka over and over. Or something like that. You would fight one of the Final Fantasy characters, you just keep fighting them, and then get maxed out there. It took them so long. But then, bam, level 99. Start the game now. Like, I think it's interesting, and I really respect people dedicated enough to do that. But I wouldn't do that. So... But dude, Primal Liquid, that guy makes crazy YouTube videos. They take him like months to accomplish. Anyway, that's the entire skill tree. That's everything. That is everything. I talked about the drone upgrade modules too. I didn't lose my voice. That's nice. Last time we did this, dude, last time we did a discussion for the skill tree, I was losing my voice, man. It was rough. Like, after that day, I had to have so much tea just to be able to stream. So if you go back and, like, watch, it was, like, one of my first Lies of P streams. At the very end of it, I was done. You could not even understand me. I was gone. I was absolutely gone. Hang on a sec, I'll be right back. All right. All their hard work crushed by an insane challenge. I feel you, dude. Currently, your throat is dry as hell and your nose is stuffy. Oh my goodness. I really hope I don't get sick. I'll just keep announcing this because I feel like you guys should know. If you enjoy watching my streams, I'm going on vacation for a month. I'm going to be gone for a month. I'm not going to be streaming. I might intermittently, but it's going to be off console. Like, you know, no webcam, no controller graphic. I might stream some random stuff on console. I don't know. You know what game I really want to play is Returnal. That's the game I was planning on playing through next. Just like while I'm if I'm just hanging out during my vacation when I'm not doing anything else. This game has awesome music. Wait, what? Here it is, Returnal. Yeah, I was gonna play this next. But I'm going on vacation. I'll be gone for a month. So I'm leaving Sunday. And dude, at work this week, there was someone sick. I did my best to stay away from them, but I really hope I didn't get sick. I really hope I didn't catch anything. I feel fine right now. But I'll know tomorrow. Like, I think that by tomorrow I would notice symptoms. Because yeah, they were just coughing everywhere. I was so scared. I was like, I cannot get sick before my international flight. That would be horrible. I'm not gonna stay on a flight for like 15 hours and be sick. I'm just not gonna. That would suck. So I'm gonna do everything to get better in case I do start getting sick. But yeah, I'm excited. I'll be gone for a month. I'll be back April 16th or 17th, something like that. And I'll pick up again streaming the usual days. You know, I stream Thursday, Friday, Saturday here, and Sunday sometimes. What else? That's the entire discussion. I'm not going to do anything else. Tomorrow, though, will be a big, fun stream. We're doing our 1-year anniversary stream. So exactly a year ago, I started streaming on YouTube. And I'm planning to, we're going to watch over my blind playthrough. I'm going to commentate some of my blind playthrough of Stellar Blade. Basically just the bosses. And then I'm also going to be reviewing all the games that we played. We played so many games. I'm going to review them, which will kind of also remind everybody of what I've played. In case you're newer here, you might not know that I've played some of these games. Because I've got playlists of all these playthroughs, all these blind playthroughs on my channel. So while I'm gone for a month, you know, if you needed background noise, you might want to watch a playthrough or something. I don't know. That's pretty much it for the stream today. It's a short one because it was just a discussion. And since we're done with the discussion, I'm not going to start a playthrough now. We'll just play Stellar Blade tomorrow, though. But yeah, tomorrow will be the last stream for a little while. First stream back is going to be a D Rust. Yeah, unless... Ooh, that's a good point, Juan. A month off is a long time. Maybe I will play a little bit of Stellar Blade while I'm abroad. But yeah. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for being here, Tazel. Take care, everybody. Life is overrated. Juan, Tazel, Vizfreak, Daji2 Kim, X Mega Juni, Evans Matt, Single Player Enthusiast, Vanilla Von Vibe, cool name, JHP, Wake, C Newt, Agatoki, Grim Scythe, Obama Orb. Who else was in here? Casey Mad Max, Edgar, Mr. Wing, and Shinigami. Thank you guys for hanging out, as well as everybody lurking. Daniel Yang as well. Everybody lurking, I really appreciate you all. I will be posting updates in the Discord, of course, while I'm on vacation. I'm going to a concert. I'm going to go see Taeyeon. If you don't know who that is, he's the lead vocalist for Girls' Generation, and they have not toured in forever. And I haven't seen Taeyeon since 2012. I last saw her when I was 17. I was 17 years old. 17 years old. I'm 30 now. I'm turning 31 soon. It's been so long since I've seen her live, so I'm very excited, and should be very fun. I'm going to that concert with my girlfriend at the end of March in Manila. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. That's the stream. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, tune in. 1 year anniversary. If you wanted to hang out and celebrate. It's been a really fun year. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next time, and have a good night. Peace.